Hey, it's me and Shelley Showtime, and welcome to Aaron. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's not Aaron.
I know. I just wanted to do the Kirk clip. So,
well, you doing that is
logical.
Yeah,
what you do.
So it is. It is. Yeah, I got to use it. It's there. I got to use it. Hey, welcome to what might be our greatest show ever, but probably not. This probably isn't.
Well,
I think so. No,
you never know.
No,
what might come up.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna suck.
Hi, John. That watching the show for them, they never know.
They never know.
I never know because you didn't tell me until like a minute and a half ago what was going on. So
well, I only knew 2 minutes ago what was going on. So then I couldn't get to you earlier than that. So anyway, hey, it is it's July. It's July 18th, 2021. Welcome to Aaron Live.
Yep.
Let's get to it. Who's here?
I love how everybody knows that it's snack time and that.
Well, sure.
Well, I know, and that I always gets hungry. And then this one shocks me. How did you know? Seriously, did you smell it all the way? That would be great. Although most of the time here you probably wouldn't want to smell.
There's kettle corn too. It's not just regular corn. And I broke into my mother's bedroom and stole these Lorna Doone shortbread cookies because they've become my newest addiction.
Great. Live streaming, cookies.
Theft.
Great.
We're all today.
So Eric's in the house.
Eric Boyd, one and all. Oh, and you too, Aaron. Well,
it's early. Get warmed up.
Yeah. I'll just give you one for that.
Just one. God, don't want to pull anything.
No, I got it. Yeah, that's right. I got to loosen up before I really start swinging.
Popcorn smells like dirty feet. I don't know what popcorn you're eating.
Yeah, I know, but I would change brands.
Yeah, maybe. Oh God.
What?
I didn't understand that one either.
I think that's insulting.
Just gonna go with that.
I think I am. I just, So
explain the fast forward button. So I get through the countdown faster.
I guess I don't know, but I am assuming everything's an insult until I know for sure otherwise.
Oh, what a positive, upbeat person you are.
I am.
Wow.
Now let's see who else is here. Paul Brillart is here. Good afternoon. Perfect timing, isn't it though?
Feels early.
See, now that's the proper response right there. I think
that's so scary.
I think, hey, that's not quite as good. Hail, that's better. In fact, Shelley, that's so good.
I'm glad you feel good about it.
I do. I feel really good. It's kind of warm inside. I'm actually kind of warm on the outside too. It's warm in here.
Warm.
There you go. Mid-50s statement of the week. I broke into my mother's bedroom to steal her cookies.
Yeah. I think the thing to say though is that she lives with us.
That's right. I don't live
with her.
Yeah, she lives with us. Okay, let's get that straight.
Yeah. Showtime, Shelley. Shelley Showtime.
Best on-screen name. I'm not even going to slap you for that, John, because I have to agree. It pretty much is.
Oh, wow.
Well, Paul, I'm glad you're feeling better. Wow. Hope it wasn't anything too horrible.
Yikes.
I think she pretty much at this point expects me to go in there and steal candy and cookies from her.
Then she gets to see you.
That's right. Oh, like so sweet.
Keeps them in her room.
Speaking of old,
so I won't eat them.
Speaking of old, I had noticed that when I let my hair grow out a little bit, and it really, you can see the gray, I really look older. I look like your dad right now, which is a pretty frightening thing. I mean, not like your dad, but I mean, I look like I could be your dad.
Oh, when you said that, I was like, my dad.
No,
my dad had a huge bag.
I look like I could be old enough to be your dad.
Okay. Paul, okay, so we do know when it's warm out, you need to stay hydrated, right? Drink your water.
Okay, which reminds me of a story. Okay, so we were living in Florida working at CrossGen, right? And it's like 100 degrees out and like 99% humidity. And Shelley's like, I want to go mow the lawn. I'm like, don't go out there and mow the I said, don't go out there and mow the lawn. It's too hot. But no, she had to do it. And
because our neighbors were out of town, and every time we were gone, we'd come home and like our yard would be done. Our neighbors would like mow our lawn and stuff. And so our neighbors.
So she felt
were gone. I thought, well, I'll mow their lawn while they're gone because I am just,
so she comes in after getting half done.
Well, okay. I kept checking in with myself. I figured if I knew my name, that I was doing all right still. Because I was like, okay, this is really hot. I'm sweating a lot. Okay, who am I? Where am I? Okay, I know. I knew that. I felt like I was doing all right.
She walks to him, and she literally passes out on the floor in the little hallway there, coming in from the garage from the heat.
Crawled into the shower.
Maybe and turned on the cold water. I drug her by her hair into the shower.
Like caveman.
Totally
all right. So Paul, when you think you're drinking enough, drink more. Because if you get thirsty, you're too late. That's what I was always told. So everybody, let's take a drink of water while we're thinking about it.
Oh, why can't?
Where's your water?
It's. What the heck is it?
See?
Did I leave it downstairs?
Probably.
Oh my God.
I'm not sharing.
Okay.
So let's see.
Okay.
What else? Oh,
so
John. Wow.
Well, actually, Shelley is 2 years younger than me, so that is sort of that. But okay.
All right. What are you gonna do now?
Well, I want to start the show off right.
Okay. And what does that mean? Oh.
So you're asking yourself, I know you are, what's Aaron working on? Let's take a quick look, shall we?
Let's see, what is it?
This is out this month. It's my favorite cover of all time, perhaps.
But you worked on it. That's past tense. Sorry.
What?
Grammar police.
You just lost me. What did I say?
What's Aaron working on? Well, you worked on that one. What are you working on?
Well, it's currently for sale, so therefore.
Oh. What's Aaron up to?
Aware.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Oh, my favorite thing next.
We still don't know what this is or when it's going to be published. I do know it's Swedish, though. So we want to keep.
And I knew that you drew it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you do know that now. You didn't at first.
I was surprised, but not in like a bad way.
Because that's the biggest question we ever hear at conventions is, hey, did you draw this?
That? Is this
no,
free?
I'm just sitting here at the table.
I get that all the time. Did you draw this? No.
Well, I get it all the time, too. So.
And then,
somebody came up to Josh once at a show and said, are you Aaron Lopresti? And Josh goes, do I look like I'm 50? So.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But really, Shadow Sentry alternative cover. Eric Nalitowski has this on Indiegogo right now. So if you want that cover, go check that campaign out. This, of course, is my alternate cover for Graham Nolan's Alien Alamo, which is currently on demand or in demand.
On demand?
Well, it's in demand. On demand is TV.
Right.
In demand is Indiegogo. You can still get that book with that cover. Of course, we know that the Garbage Man collection is available for pre-order now. It's the trade paperback, of course, that Dark Horse is publishing with 18 pages. If you want to be exact, there's 18 pages of new material in there, featuring the first appearance of a super team from the Lopresti-verse, of all things. And speaking of of course, Amazon, you can get that pre-order, or you can get it through your local comic shop, Dark Horse Publishing. And of course, speaking of Lopresti-verse, this Wraith of God, ladies and gentlemen, that is, I have a pre-launch page up right now on Indiegogo for you to go sign up. Give me your email so I can bug the crap out of you when it goes live in mid-August. But not only is that's one cover.
You know what I hear? There's another one.
There is another one, and it's what I call my 70s retro cover. Looks something like this. In fact, it looks exactly like that. And so those are two options you have, and there's a third option coming.
But it's a secret.
It's a secret right now.
I could tell you.
When I actually, but then I'd have to kill you. Right.
Yep.
So I'll wait till I actually get something from this artist before I then will reveal it. But you know, the interesting thing about this, Shelley, is
tell me.
It's not a live campaign in the sense that you can actually buy it and give me money. But you can sign up for it so that I can bug you so you can later buy it and give me money. But despite the fact that this book isn't even funded yet, I've been working on it.
Yeah, that came up in our last show.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the pencils to the page to the first, well, the issue of the first page.
I was in rare form. and I kind of want to apologize, but then I don't.
No, she's talking about our Friday night last second live stream where it got a little nutty there.
Yeah. Well, I was already in bed. It makes me get up, guilts me into coming in.
That was the crowd demanding that you come in. It had nothing to do with me.
That's so sweet.
And
yeah,
she was
listen to it back, and I go, wow. Not only do I hate my voice, I think I might hate my laugh even more. And that was like,
you were
full on cackle.
You were a live wire. That's for sure. I had to slap you several times, which you don't do that.
Not really. To new people, he doesn't slap me normally.
No,
well, just like.
Don't like. Well, no, not well. Okay,
normally.
Sometimes, I've never touched her. So,
not that way.
I video slapped her.
You have two kids.
I have. Yeah. Touched her
she's
once
on a
or
roll
twice.
Again.
Remember, handling is free.
Sorry, I just spit popcorn. That's gross.
Great. Okay, so anyway, this is the first page to the comic, and I'll be inking that very soon. But you have this gang of ruffians sitting there out in the I think they're in the wilds of Missouri.
Oh, you're going to be there pretty soon.
I am actually. I've got a comic book show appearance coming up this.
I know
weekend.
we didn't even plan that. You just said that. That was good.
Wow. So then they're talking about bad things. And this mystical smoke comes fading in out of seemingly nowhere. And they're a little bit confused. Like, where is this coming from? And it's coming from this dude right here. Because that's the second page.
You're not redrawing it.
Okay, I won't redraw it, maybe. Okay. And anyway, so there's the Wraith right there appearing before them to exact some justice on these evildoers who just might be more than what they seem.
Now, go back to your pencil, please.
Uh-oh.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Maybe other people.
You want to know if I drew this?
No, I know you did.
Okay.
Do other people? Okay, are you inking this as well?
Apparently.
Okay. Do other people do such tight pencils? Does everybody do?
I don't.
Especially if they're inking their own.
I don't consider that tight. No, this is kind of sketchy in here because I'm going to go in with the pen and kind of mess around. I don't think that's that tight for me normally.
Right. So if you guys were wondering that, yeah, he's like.
How many penciling this?
Super tight.
Yeah, I am.
Pencils and money. Oh! Oh wait, things have not. Oh no, here we go.
Oh, so Shelley earns a slap already. Holy smoke!
Oh no, it might be another one of those. I'm gonna try not to cackle really loud because if you were listening, oh my gosh, anybody that had headphones on or anything, ears would have been bleeding.
There was some jocularity for sure. Look at all these comments coming in.
I know. Let's see. Let's go back up because we missed a lot. You told me I was in charge of comments. Back off, man. Okay. Oh, hey. Guess who's here?
Leg
kick is here.
Oh my gosh, I never would have guessed that in a million years that leg kick would show up.
All right. Oh my gosh, we are like way behind. Okay, there's Crater Lobber.
Okay, and what's up? Thought I was drinking enough water, but you were wrong, Paul.
Oh my gosh, no wonder, Paul. He delivers Amazon packages.
Holy crap.
If you did it around here, then you would have to blame me. Oh, are you and Terry sharing a booth at Rose City?
No. In fact, it's questionable whether Terry would even show up. He might make an appearance like one day, but he's very dodgy about the Rose City Comic Con for some reason.
Johnny says, hey, this is Shelley and Old Man Lopresti. Oh, he's taking over. You know what's happening. You might.
Oh, wait a minute. I just slapped Paul. Sorry about that, Paul. Can I take that back? And we want to move this over to here.
Johnny.
And then let's try that again. Go.
Johnny's going to speak of the truth.
So, yeah, Paul, I hope I didn't hurt you there with that. I didn't mean to slap you. Boo.
Shelley scores.
She shoots. She scores. Joe Bernardo is our Hawaiian connection in Las Vegas. We're a Las Vegas connection from Hawaii.
Oh. I was really confused.
Oh, wait a minute. That was supposed to be here. That's that.
Oh, okay.
And then leg kick, of course, saying hello to Joe, who's actually in Vegas. Yes?
Yeah.
Shelley Lopresti presents the pencil stylings of Aaron Lopresti, misspelled, of course.
Okay.
Early 70s Marvel. Stan Lee presents Homage. That will be an alternate cover version. Wow, there's so much to unpack in that one statement.
It was a lot.
That would actually be on the inside, wouldn't it? Because like wasn't the Stanley Presents, wasn't that on the splash page, and they had that little caption box there? So maybe it should be on the inside. We'll put the Shelley Lopresti presents the pencil stylings of Aaron Lopresti, except spelled correctly. Early 70s Marvel Stanley.
Hold on.
This?
We'll just go through. Let's see. This is nice.
That is Tom. Do you think that's Bopel?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Bipple?
No, I would go
Bopel.
Boepple.
Yeah, if you want to get really.
I bet teachers never got it right.
Mm.
I wouldn't. In fact, Tom, if you were my student, I would change it, and I would call you whatever I want.
Just call you Bo. Just call you Bo.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I had a student. Well, I'll come back to that if I can remember his real name, because I called him. Oh, his name was Yosia. So I called him Yo. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big money right there.
Actually, you know what?
I can see the toys now.
This is such an old joke. This is all you're getting for that. Boo. I want some better new material.
Okay, here's a good one then.
Oh no! Yes, we are. Okay, now that's
why I was laughing before.
That's about all I can. That's all I can take.
Are you feeling repressed?
Help! Help! I'm being repressed.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Mm.
There it is, right there.
Oh, Bentley.
Tom Bentley.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Yeah, that is very.
We didn't even get close.
Well, someone's got to, actually, you know what? I had a Hawaiian Connection that would send me chocolate covered macadamia nuts all the time. But
it's good.
I haven't seen them at cons recently. But we're doing. You came in late. We're doing popcorn and shortbread cookies.
Well, he's doing the shortbread cookies.
Yeah.
I'm going to try really hard not to.
Lorna Doone. Upside down. From Nabisco. Maybe we can get some advertising money.
There's too much mama.
There's probably
too much mama in the chair. Oh, got Aaron's cover for.
Sure. How about that? Look at that.
Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, and I just plugged Wraith of God, of course. And if you're just coming in and you're like, what the heck? There should be a link right down there in the. Boy, I don't remember if I put one in there. That would have been horrible if I forgot. Hey, let's watch the video.
Oh, good idea. Let's do that. Okay. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. I've got to push like 15 buttons.
Yeah, everybody's leaving.
Have a snack. Drink the water.
Stay hydrated. Okay.
And when it's playing, you can go get your water and be a good example.
That's it, right. I will.
How long is it?
It's like 30 seconds. So
you
it's
better run.
Fast. Okay, ready? Let's watch the video, Shelley.
What? Oh, gosh.
Just click on it.
Just click on it.
Video.
Is that even showing very well? Click that.
Yep.
All right. So that if it didn't show very good, there was a little teaser. I guess you can go to Indiegogo.
That's right.
What do they get if they sign up for the email thing?
You get a special trading card, which I gotta be honest with you. This is just between us. And all my friends are telling me just use art you already have, and just make a trading card. That's not like me. I'm going to do a new piece of art specifically for that trading card.
Yep.
So if you sign up now, but you actually have to buy the book later. But if you sign up now, you're going to get like that trading card, and it's going to be art specifically made for the book.
They also get.
Yeah, they get the trading card, but you don't get the trading card if you back the book, but don't sign up early. You have to sign up early and then get the book.
Guys, get that? Should I do a flow chart later?
Maybe.
Okay. Let's check out our what. Eric, I'm confused.
I can pronounce senior citizen.
I think so, because we have to go ask for our discounts now. Oh, John has a good question. Up, 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 up.
You know, and I've got an excellent answer for John for that.
Thanks, John. You guys are it's so good for my
finishing dinner.
Mood, self-esteem. It's so much fun.
Yellow wax beans does not sound all that appealing to
Interesting.
me.
Though.
It is interesting.
Just talking about food.
You know, as soon as someone invites me to the amazing Las Vegas Comic Con, I will go, and then I will expect Hawaiian Island stuff.
That's one of the places where might be looking to move, like Boulder City-ish. I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
where my friend lives. Yeah,
could be a lot of places in that sort of area, depending on what my daughter ends up doing. But gotta
stay by the kids.
Let's. We're well into the show. 20 minutes into the show already, Shelley. Can you believe that?
All right.
So this is going to kind of. I think this is probably the good time to.
Should be precious. Let's do precious.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do. Is just kind of relax a little bit and reflect with some precious moments from yesteryear.
That was precious.
There you go. That was a little clip from everybody's favorite action adventure cartoon of all time, Johnny Quest. That was Race Bannon throwing the big sumo wrestler dude right through the wall.
I noticed that.
Right through the freaking wall. I know
it's
terrible.
It should have been.
Probably used rice paper on the walls.
So what do you guys think? They go, Johnny.
Haji.
There you go. Missed it the first time.
Johnny. Yeah, Haji. Okay.
And yes, this is what it's like normally. We can't go through a day without some kind of.
You know, I was thinking about doing Turu based on your suggestion, Hyper Kaiju, but I didn't find a really sufficient clip that really satisfied me the way showing a fat guy getting thrown through a wall.
Of Racer X.
Not on this show.
That's above our pay grade.
Well, I mean, that's sad, but at the same time, Andy should know better than to go against the juggernaut that is Aaron and Shelley Showtime.
Oh, what? Andy, what was he thinking?
See, Joe agrees with me here. Johnny Quest was the best cartoon ever. It was. I hate to miss this, but VBS started tonight. See ya on the replay.
Right, Chuck.
What's VBS?
Vacation Bible School, maybe.
Oh, well, maybe. Okay. Thanks, Chuck.
That's a good excuse.
Hey, I don't care when you watch, as long as you watch. So.
Oh, we do need a Charlton Heston clip.
You know that. I am a big Heston fan. I should do that. No, thanks for the suggestion. We'll go down that road.
Which one would you do?
Probably either something at the beginning of Omega Man or Planet of the Apes. How could I not use Planet of the Apes?
How about Let My People Go?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thanks.
See?
Oh, wait. Huh? I didn't read it all the way. The Shelley effect.
Yeah, okay. I kind of glossed over that.
Oh my gosh.
I glossed over that quickly.
I'm telling you, I was really tired today, but
she rallied, man.
Yep.
Okay, click them off.
I can just leave it the whole show.
Oh, that's my bad shoulder. I can't lift it that high, dude.
So I sit on this side. Let's see.
Oh, there's Matt. There's nice. Hey, Aaron and Shelley in the proper order. I like that. That's good.
I warned Andy, but he scoffed.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of suggestions right there. You maniacs. It's a madhouse. You could go Charlton Heston all day long, quite frankly.
In his prime, you probably could.
Of course, there's free handling.
Moses opening the Red Sea.
Wow. That's some serious suggestions. I could be all over that.
All right. Well, one of these, I do apologize. I watched one back. Oh, I'm going to choke on popcorn. I just don't really like watching myself eat on YouTube.
Well,
it's not pleasant.
Then you have to go back and look. All right.
Well, there you go.
This kind of warms us up for what we're. Oops, wait a minute. Let me get rid of the Red Sea. Let me part the Red Sea and get you out of there. This is kind of warm us up for what we'll be getting into in a few moments.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah, that's one of my favorite Bernie Wrightson pieces, and
So
you can see that it was done in 1980, and all that pen work in there. You could still tell he was just finishing up Frankenstein at that time, and so that sort of all that line work influence was still carrying over strongly into his work at that period of time.
So our portfolio still a thing?
No, sadly, because I'd still be doing them.
I was just saying you should bring it back.
Well, maybe I will. All kinds of Ann Baxter saying Moses, Charlton Heston's in True Lies. Oh,
but well,
thanks, Johnny.
I really can't share my true identity.
If you're lurking, don't be lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
You can't share your true identity. What? Is Shelley real identity rogue? Oh, because of your gray streak right there. She has a white streak that comes out of there.
Oh, now I feel self-conscious.
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute. That's the first time anyone's like giving Shelley any lip.
Okay, but was it really because you can see my gray?
Yes, that's
now
exactly.
You say no.
No.
What gray?
That's what he's saying.
Well, they're just God's highlights. I decided.
Yeah.
Spending all that money coloring my hair for what?
Mm-hmm.
For what? I tell you. Oh no, I should say I ask you. But yeah. No. Who am I fooling? You know what?
I was watching Andy, but came because I liked the title of this video and wanted to see comics from the 70s. Well, you're going to see comic art from the 70s. You're not going to see comics from the 70s.
But thank you. Sorry, Andy.
Wait a minute.
What?
No, Shelley will be all over it. We missed something.
Fifth row was my real identity, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Explain yourself.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look back, really, to my youth.
Okay.
In the 70s, growing up in the 70s, where the comics, it was a different time.
Great comics and art, bad hair and fashion.
Yeah. There was a lot of bad fashion and bad hair too, really. I can look back on the 80s and feel, you kind of laugh maybe a little bit about the fashion a little bit, or maybe some of the hair, but it wasn't as bad as the 70s. 70s was bad hair, but great comics. And
it's good notice.
Yeah, well,
I do have a lot of hair.
That's kind of overstating the obvious, but yeah.
Adding the Heston videos, I'll be all over that.
Oh, I see.
Gotcha, John.
She'll be all over commenting on it, but I'll be actually one all over actually doing it.
You gotta admit, he was pretty delicious.
I was a huge Charlton Heston fan. Now, interesting thing about Charlton Heston, this is off topic, but he had like 2 trilogies he kind of put together of films. The first one was like the what you'd call the, I guess, biblical trilogy, even though it's not. But you have the 10 Commandments. You had Ben-Hur, and then he was in a movie called El Cid. Okay. Which really wasn't biblical, but it was a period piece with soldiers and that type of thing. So it kind of fits into that. Then he later did the apocalyptic, where he did Planet of the Apes, Omega Man, and Soylent Green.
Wow.
Like one right after the other. So this is very interesting. But there you go.
Super interesting.
Well, this is even maybe more interesting. Hair is just a fingernail that grows out of your head.
Ew.
That's pretty trippy, man.
I know, but ew.
Yeah. So
good thing I have at least decent hair because I have really bad fingernails. Okay. You shall not pass. There you go.
Well, that's Lord of the Rings, which brings me back to the 70s, because we had sort of a renaissance of not only art in the comic industry, but all the non-superhero stuff was sort of falling out of favor around the early 70s. And you saw Marvel and DC start pushing towards doing comics that were monsters, sword and sorcery, fantasy, trying to find a even they were even using blaxploitation films and karate films that were really big time during that period of time. And so that's where you got Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, and of course Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, Richard Dragon, Kung Fu Fighter, which was Shelley's favorite comic growing up.
Gosh, totally.
And so we saw those kind of run through comics. And I think what I saw there as a kid is a lot of these comics tended to be more illustrative in nature than the superhero comics were, meaning more detail, more light and shadow. It was more like looking at illustrations as opposed to cartooning. And I don't mean that to diminish what the superhero artists were doing, like Buscema and Romita and even Stranko and Neil Adams and things like that. But this was a different kind of feel. And you saw guys like Barry Smith show up in 1970 with Conan the Barbarian. And he started off as a Kirby clone, but then shortly, in short order, became his own thing and had a very illustrative and wonderful style that sort of came to complete fruition with Conan number 24, which also would be the second appearance of Red Sonja, in case you were.
I was wondering that.
See, 23 was her first appearance, and 24 was. And then he left Conan to kind of do his own thing. Another artist, Bernie Wrightson, also did similar things where he came out and was doing House of Mystery work for DC. He did Swamp Thing with Len Wein. That was a little bit later in 1972. So
You're so full of knowledge.
He was taking over kind of the reins. Well, yeah, I'm full of
stuff. Oh,
yeah, I'm not
now
gonna
you're
no, I'm not going to do it. Right in the middle of the story. So you had Smith from 71 to 72-ish, doing his Conan thing. And then here comes Wrightson in 72, really hitting stride with Swamp Thing. And both those guys sort of, I think Smith earlier than Wrightson kind of went off on his own and started what I like to call, tried to create a fine arts market for comic book art. And that's where we're going to go and sort of take a look at what I got back here on the table, which is some pretty interesting stuff. Plug as well. Didn't mean to.
Can we answer this real quick before?
Sure.
So we don't lose it.
Yeah.
It's a really good question. Why Garbage Man through Amazon was because Garbage Man is actually being published through Dark Horse.
Well. You do what?
I'm going to get a White Claw. You want one?
Oh, you know. Shelley's on her way to White Claw
City.
Hydrate. Look out. Oh, she's got to hydrate. Okay. That's an excellent question, Comics Legend, and let me explain this to you. I originally did try to crowdfund Garbage Man, but kind of went about it the entire wrong way. And I had just basically started a video channel. And as you guys all know that spend a lot of time jumping around watching different people do their live streams, that we use these live stream platforms to basically make people not only aware of us and our artwork, but to be aware of any products that we may or may not be launching. And I didn't really have the exposure that I thought I had on social media, because you can be, an artist that's done the things I've done, like Planet Hulk or Ms. Marvel or Justice League or X-Men or whatever. But if people don't know you're doing something, you can't sell it. And that's the challenge, is to get the stuff out in front of people. So I launched this Garbage Man campaign, and it didn't go anywhere because I don't think I got enough exposure for it. And certainly, again, having my own channel helps that. So once that failed, I had been approached earlier by Dark Horse about providing them with something, because they were looking for material because they have contracts with streaming services and stuff, and they're looking for content as well. So once that didn't go, I really wanted to get it collected and published and out there. And so I approached them with it. I told them, hey, I've got to do 18 to 20 pages of new material in there to replace the Batman stuff. Can you guys budget that into this so that I could actually get like a page rate and hire guys to ink it and color it? And they did. And so we put it together that way. And so then Dark Horse is handling the trade paperback for Garbage Man. And in all that time, I've been, of course, doing this, live streaming, doing social media like crazy, trying to grow my numbers and my exposure so that I could launch another project, which I'm doing with Wraith of God, which seems to be going much better, as I already have 5 times as many email signups in 10 days than I did for Garbage Man in an entire month on the pre-launch page. So it's going better.
Kind of exciting.
It is. I'm very excited about it. So, and I think I'm more ready now in a position to go all in self-publishing, as opposed to when I was trying to do Garbage Man. I was still working full time at DC, and so it was. I don't know that I was necessarily ready to go to commit the time that needed to be committed to do your own project, like I'm going to do with Wraith of God. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good question. So I thought it was worthy of interrupting you there for a bit. So, but yeah, make sure to tell all your friends.
Hers made of keratin, just like our nails. And yes, I'm buzzed.
Beep.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
That's what we want to know, really.
Thanks, Comics Legend. Okay, see, I'm hydrating. White Claw's made of water.
Well, there is water in it for sure.
People do ask me though, like, because
But alcohol isn't alcohol a diuretic?
well, we're just not going to talk about that.
Okay.
You do realize my birthday's on Tuesday.
Yeah, we did not.
What are you going to get me?
We didn't. I don't know. We didn't decide on what you're having cake wise either.
Yeah. Guess how old I'll be. Put your answers in. Be kind. All right, Johnny. Have a good one. Thanks, Johnny.
Well, Eric. Thanks for pointing that out. And I'm just saying this. Oh, I'm glad you're just saying. Well, that's what I'm saying.
John, you're right. Be 29.
Again. Shelley be 29 again.
Factorial. Mm-hmm. Oh, if you don't factorial, look it up. Mm-hmm.
Johnny's way out the door.
Yep,
Thanks for stopping in, bud. Take care.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. All right. This whole thing.
So close.
This whole thing begins.
Look. Okay.
Okay.
Should I
do it?
Okay.
Vic,
stop
knock it off. Okay.
Stop it.
We're not doing any porn on this channel, and quit
look,
suggesting it, please. Thank you.
Aaron takes his reputation very seriously, and you know what he draws says a lot about his character. And you know, he has a daughter, and she would be seeing things, and his foundation and his faith and everything else.
Right. So what I'm saying is I have some moral standards that I'm unwilling to break. And that's why we try to keep this not only a clean channel.
For other people, if they want that, that's fine.
Yeah, but there's other places you can get that, but that's something I will never be doing. So you can quit suggesting that I do that, because I won't do it. I don't know what message apparently I did not get it, David.
Oh.
Oh
my gosh. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, well, look at that.
There you go.
I take the slap back, or Shelley takes the slap back.
Oh, absolutely. Good guess. I will be 55. No wrinkles. Kind of. Getting there.
Just ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what you're looking for. If you want back issues, Excalibur, which is southeast Portland. What's that road that goes right off the bridge and goes by where the food trucks are? It's not Harrison. It's
hold on. Darn it.
Where Burgerville is, you know? Anyway,
I'll Google
Excalibur. Yeah, you can look it up. Excalibur Comics in Portland is probably the best if you want back issues. And the only one of the ones I know for sure would be Things from Another World. There's several of those, but that's going to give you newer stuff. Hawthorne. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness, my highlights.
Look at that.
Oh my
You and Rodney
gosh.
are contemporaries.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Dan Marshall, give me a compliment for Wraith. Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate it.
So sweet.
Okay, let's get to this. Let's look at some stuff. Shelley's going to man the
man up,
or woman the chat while I turn my back on you guys. Now I'm going to be talking away from the camera, so I'm going to try and
watch the cords.
Try and lean this way and talk towards you so that.
Now, no. Well, all right.
How
many noises? Random noises can I make?
In front of the camera there, or in front of the screen, and control the camera for me.
Yep.
All right. So here's what we're looking at. Can you zoom in on this a little bit?
Yeah, but you don't have the camera thing. Oh wait,
It's
there
better
it
in
is.
the back behind.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I think autofocus needs to be turned on.
That would be correct.
Okay. So what everybody started trying to do, and when I say everybody, I mean everybody, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But one of the things that everybody at one point or another was doing was art portfolios. And this was a very trendy thing probably from 74 through 78-ish probably, and it started to die out. So you had about a 4 or 5 year period there where this stuff was really hot and everybody's waiting for the next portfolio. Now, of course, the guy that started it was the king, was Frazetta, right?
Frazetta.
And now this, I think this is his first portfolio, but I'm not going to be dogmatic about that because I honestly don't really know. I think it was, but it's the one I want to take a look at. So there you go. This is not cheap, and collecting these things is challenging because they all came. A lot of them came in these envelopes that were serially numbered right there. So that tells you out of the portfolio. This is number 660, and these were actually put in. These envelopes were just packaging to hold the portfolio, the prints in. But because it's part of the packaging, much like a toy in a blister pack that you get at a store, once you break it open, people start grading the condition of the envelope as well as the prints inside. So you might have the print set maybe perfect condition on the inside, but your envelope may be a little beat up, which was never intended to be anything but beat up. But if you find one, a real nice envelope, you're going to pay a lot more for it. And we're talking hundreds of dollars for this. Okay. So, okay, if you need to zoom out at any point, because I can't get anything, just leave it up to you.
Okay.
All right, so this came in this nice folder. Check this out. And the prints are inside. Comes with a certificate of authenticity. Frank Rosetta's Lord of the Rings portfolio, it says. Signed by, not by Frank, but he signed the art right there, that very first plate, signed and numbered by Frank. This is 660 out of 1,000. These usually retailed for like 20 or 30 bucks at the time, which was a significantly let me try that. It was significantly more than what 20 bucks would be today, I think. But it was still affordable. This was published by Middle Earth. And again, this sort of speaks to what I was talking about earlier, where the whole fantasy thing sort of exploded in the 70s. And Lord of the Rings was like super popular. Ralph Bakshi did a film in 78, I believe, Lord of the Rings. So all this sword and sorcery stuff and fantasy was really, really big. So Frazetta did this, and this is all, well, almost all these were black and white.
Can you turn it a little bit? Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. We can actually see it a little bit better.
Okay. I think there's 6 plates in here, but we'll find out. So we got little Frodo and his gang walking through the woods, and you just look at this gray ink wash that Frazetta worked with, and that's simply just a matter of thinning out your India ink a little bit so that it's gives you more of a wash effect than that really strong, hard black that you do with your ink in comic books, right? There's this print of Golem.
Oh yeah.
Was it Gollum? Excuse me, not Gollum. Let me try that again. It's not Golem. It's Gollum. Golem is another creature. No. This is kind of one of my faves. I love this one with is that either Frodo or Bilbo facing off with this wolf. Look at the detail on that.
Let me zoom in. Yep. Cool.
And the reason these guys did this, now Frazetta at this point wasn't a comic book artist, right? I think the last comic book thing he did was the Creepy Magazine #1, which was back in, I want to say 64, but don't quote me on that. And he had been doing book covers, Conan stuff and other book covers for a variety of paperback publishers. And So this was just an extension of what he was already doing, which was more in the line of illustration than comic book art. That's a cool piece too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got some orcs, it looks like, marching. So this was quite the hot portfolio when it came out. And of course, it still is today to collectors that are into this kind of stuff. So these were printed, they was offset printed on nicer paper, like very textured, heavy-duty paper. So they were meant to be, you know, stuff that you might frame and hang up, like a limited edition fine art print, right? So Frazetta came out of the gate pretty darn strong with this.
Okay, let's do some questions.
Yep, lay 'em on me.
Did you have a mentor or apprenticeship at all?
I did work in commercial art where I had people that basically taught me stuff when I got out of film school and then moved back to Oregon. I got in a studio called Art Farm.
Yeah.
And just did commercial art like storyboards and illustration, things like that, before I broke into comics. Frazetta was, of course, my first influence before I moved over to Wrightson. But anyway, this is his Kubla Khan portfolio, and this was 77. So this is a couple years after the Lord of the Rings portfolio was 75. So actually, Barry Smith had beaten Frazetta to the punch on the portfolios. We'll get to Barry in a minute, because Barry, I believe, his first portfolio was 74. But anyway, so he follows up with Kubla Khan. And again, this is signed by Frank, number 299 out of 1,500. So it's not exactly rare, but it still is a fairly expensive portfolio, not as expensive as Lord of the Rings, though. That's a great piece that was on the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just the way he did horses and just the illustrative quality of everything he does. And these are not real complicated pieces because Frazetta never really needed to do, you know, he kind of focused in on the main character and then gave you a little bit of background. And that was, you know, so basically he was creating these little vignettes. But because Frazetta was Frazetta, even back in 1977, he was, you know, he was a legend at that point in his career that, you know, a little scribble from Frazetta everybody had to have. This actually, I said this wasn't the best portfolio, but actually it's pretty good now that I'm looking back at it. This is a nice piece too. But again, this is another attempt, I think, at taking comic book artists and starting to push them. Look at that horse, just look at the power of that horse. It's just amazing. But again, your central figure and a little bit of wispy smoke. And, you know, I'm sure they paid Frank a premium to do this. And I'm sure they sold every single one of these. But again, this was at a period of time where Frank was still signing his stuff. So you got a Frazetta portfolio, and you got a Frank Frazetta signature on it as well. Anyway, so you can see the envelope, the folder that this was put in, is in great shape. The envelope, of course, the corners get beat up, and it's really almost impossible to keep the envelope in great shape. I want to also take a look at Fire and Ice portfolio, which I think probably came out in, this was early 80s, so it really sort of steps out of the time frame I'm talking about, but it has some of the artwork on it. Yeah, this came out in 83. Now, this wasn't signed by Frazetta. At this point, he was like, eh. So you got the signature of Ellie Frazetta on the certificate of authenticity. And these are, of course, sketches from the movie production arts. This is all pencil stuff.
Nice.
Do we have a question?
Let's see. Have you seen Frazetta painting with fire?
Yes, I actually own it.
Oh, there you go. Do you
Watched it a
think?
couple times.
Oh, what did you think of his ink print? Some people say it's too brushy.
His what print?
His ink prints? I don't know.
Oh, no, I don't at all. I mean, again, that's the style from that period of time.
Right.
It's a more illustrative style and less of a comic booky style.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of comes to be expected with Frazetta. The interesting thing about Frazetta, like Mark Schultz, for example, is they do illustrations time period illustrations or things like that that are not superhero, and they're just magnificent. But you put them on a superhero book, and it doesn't translate as well because it's not the look that you want. You want a bolder, in-your-face kind of, action and drawing style that works really well in comics. But these guys would never. Their work doesn't really translate to superhero work. So when they're working in comics and stuff, you could look at Xenozoic Tales from Mark Schultz and just go, "This is brilliant." And then you maybe do a Superman comic. I don't know that he ever has, and you might look at it and go, "This looks like a Fleischer cartoon from the 1940s," and not have the impact because these guys are illustrators as much as they are comic book artists, and there's an illustrative style that is different than what you might see in comics. Although those two things are merging in today's market.
Move it up a little bit. Oh, here you go.
So these are all pencil drawings from Fire and Ice, the animated movie he did with Ralph Bakshi. This is all pencil work. That's kind of a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
His big cats are always sort of impressive, to say the least. Now, he always claimed that he drew out of memory. I don't necessarily always believe him. At some point, you got to be looking at reference to kind of understand what a cat looks like. And then I'm sure once he got it down, he just do it out of his head. Cats and horses. But again, this is a really super nice portfolio of great pencil drawings because Frazetta was still, and even in the 1990s, he was still kicking butt. So, but again, it's not a stretch for Frazetta at this time to be doing work like this because this is the type of work he was always doing. But it is interesting to note that this was mainly pushed on a comic book market. And so, you're trying to get the comic book market to sort of buy into the idea that these comic book artists, some of them could be great illustrators and fine artists within the medium of comics, in fantasy.
So are those still available to purchase out and
You
about?
can find them,
Yeah,
on eBay and stuff, but they're not cheap. The Fire and Ice one probably isn't too bad, but the Kubla Khan and the Lord of the Rings ones, you're talking hundreds of dollars for. Now,
so Legkick shared that a friend has a sketch from Frazetta for mowing his lawn as a kid.
no kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty valuable.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to put my certificate of authenticity back in, which seemed to be an important thing to put in here. But just the fact that they were including the certificate of authenticity gives you, I don't know, they weren't trying to be pretentious, but the idea that they were trying to make these seem like they were more than just, comic book stuff. All right.
So question, what
yeah.
is this collection you have? I don't understand, but
What is what?
this collection you have? The portfolios?
Yeah, these are limited edition portfolios that were done by different artists. Almost all of them exclusively in the 70s.
And this is what, I remember you hunting these down.
Yeah, I had most of these. Yeah, I had most of these when I was a kid. And then, the rights and stuff I did. And then I sold my entire rights and collection because I was using them too much as a crutch, style-wise. And then I went back and rebought it at much higher rates, which, of course, is not the smartest thing in the world. Frazetta also did another portfolio called Women of the Ages. And not my favorite portfolio of his, so I didn't really get it. But, I got it, but I didn't buy it. So it didn't really appeal to me all that much. Because I'm a little bit more heroic fantasy than I'm necessarily in pinup art. Although I do like pinup art, and obviously I do something that could be equated to pinup art, but it's not my favorite thing. Although women generally are my favorite thing, but not necessarily always to draw.
So do you ever hide references to Frazetta or other artists in your work?
I don't know if I'd say hide. I think you can find it. It's pretty obvious. If you look at my Garbage Man work, you can see a lot of Wrightson comes out in Sludge back in the early days of Ultraverse. You can see all the Wrightson influence comes out really, really pretty obviously. But you don't really see it that much in my superhero work. And again, that's because I treat monster stuff and fantasy stuff in a different way, because to me it's more illustrative than doing superhero work. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I mean, I do sort of look at those subject matters and I treat them differently artistically. So anyway, Wrightson comes off Swamp Thing, goes over to Warren Magazine and does some really great comic book work for Warren, black and white, but really much more detailed stuff than he was ever doing at DC. And then he breaks off and does starts doing portfolios and prints. And one of his projects was he wanted to do this Frankenstein book. So he started working on these pen and ink style, in the style of Franklin Booth and Joseph Clement Cole, who are turn of the century, not this last century, but the prior century, 19th century, 19th to 20th century pen and ink illustrators. And really, Franklin Booth, if you go back and look at Franklin Booth's work, you can see the influence in what Wrightson's doing here. And also, if you see this, his certificate of authenticity, this is the first Frankenstein portfolio, by the way. It's just a fantastic jacket cover there. Okay, now this one didn't come with a folder like the Frazetta ones did. This was simply the prints in the envelope. And he signed the envelope. So the envelope becomes very important to the collectability of this portfolio because it's signed and numbered by Wrightson on the portfolio. So obviously you want to keep the portfolio in good shape, but again, it's there to protect the prints on the inside, so it's the thing that takes the abuse. But anyway, so he had these certificate of authenticity, and you see this is Tyrannosaurus Press, and he types up this sort of mission statement, okay, about, well, I'll just read the first paragraph. It says, proud to announce the upcoming publication of a newly illustrated edition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. The novel, of course, needs no explanation. The illustrations and their creator, however, do. Well, not anymore. Bernie Wrightson's long been hailed as the unqualified master of the macabre, and the idea of his illustrating the classic novel of Gothic horror is nothing short of mind-boggling. Mr. Wrightson, in a fit of artistic dedication and neurotic determination, has ceased on all other projects and is currently bending every effort toward the completion of the Frankenstein illustrations. Okay, clearly, funny thing is about this, clearly he wrote this himself. We always do that. We write about ourselves, and then, you know, so, but the sense of humor that's in there is clearly one that he wrote. But anyway, so he formed his own press, okay? Now, we've had the question come up with me, Cold Crocodile Press. What does that mean? Well, it's me ripping off Wrightson. Because Wrightson was doing Tyrannosaurus Press, and he was self-publishing this himself. Well, I guess self-publishing means he was publishing it himself. But he published this himself and then got it distributed through comic shops, which didn't, well, they existed a little bit in the mid to late 70s here and there, specialty shops. But these ended up in boutique bookstores. We had one in Portland called Looking Glass Bookstore, and they carried nothing but movie magazines, underground comics, and then just stuff you wouldn't find anyplace else, like a Frankenstein portfolio. But they were advertised in the Buyer's Guide for Comic Fandom, which was a weekly newspaper published by Don and Maggie Thompson. It was a great thing because it had all these articles about comics, and you'd find these full-page ads for things like this, and that was the only way you knew they were coming out and available. And you could cut out the coupon and order directly, you know, from Wrightson at Tyrannosaurus Press or whatever, or whoever was publishing something for him, and you could get your hands on these things. Because they didn't have the comic shop outlet like they do today. So anyway, we have this is the first print plate in the collection here, and there's a little quote down at the bottom. It says, "It was the secrets of heaven and earth that I desired to learn." So we have a young Frankenstein contemplating whatever in the window. And you've got the monster here, grievously bruised by stones and many other kinds of missile weapons. I escaped to the open country. That is obviously from the Frankenstein monster's point of view. It's interesting how he goes in here, and you can see this is still line work that's built up into solid blacks. And then here, as they're in the shadow of this particular building here, and then you've got this lighter pen work in the background, so it's getting hit by the sunlight. It's just a really nice contrast there. They really help separate the Frankenstein monster from the background there. This is a nice piece. Now this is a little bit more brushy. This looks a little bit more, maybe it's just because of the solid blacks that he has in here, but he used a little bit more brush in here to fill in these blacks, obviously. But this looks a little bit more like a detailed comic book page than what he was doing on some of the other ones. Although it's still a fantastic, for as much black and silhouette we got going here, it's still a fantastic illustration and just really powerful and dynamic image. And that is a flash of lightning illuminated the object and discovered its shape painfully to me, or plainly to me, excuse me. This is one of my favorite pieces in the portfolio, and it's kind of disturbing as it's she perished on the scaffold as a murderess. I'm not sure the specific part of the book here, but it's just a great image. Just the weight of the body, and even though it's a woman being hung, which is not the most pleasant image in the world, it's just it's so well executed and, pardon the expression, it's so well done that and you can see just the mind-numbing detail and line work in here. Then we have this nice one of Frankenstein in his study. The stars often disappeared in the light of the morning, whilst I was yet engaged in my laboratory. And again, it just gives you just a real sort of idea of just how wonderful and time-consuming and how much effort he was putting into these pieces. Here we have one. To examine the causes of life, we must first have recourse to death. So there he is examining a dead body. And look at the skeleton up here. And there's the gargoyles and things crawling around up here that are all like part of the statue work or the carvings in the wall. A woman praying over here. Just that sort of detail and that sort of imagination to put into these backgrounds. It's really remarkable. So anyway, that's the first Frankenstein portfolio that came out. And I have to admit, I didn't even know this existed. This slipped by me when I was a kid, because this was in 77, so I would have been 13 years old. And the first one I saw was actually the second portfolio. It was at a show in, comic book show in Portland, the Portland Comic Book Show back in the day. And I just walked by and someone had one of these for sale, $20. And so I bought it, and then later learned that this was the second portfolio, again signed and numbered by Wrightson. Now the first portfolio was 1,000 copies. This one was 2,000 copies, so it was much more available. And number 33 out of 2,000. And again, he signed the envelope, not a plate inside. And again, you have your Tyrannosaurus Press certificate of authenticity there, explaining what he was doing these to raise money. So because his plan was to self-publish the Frankenstein book, which would have been an expensive endeavor. This is a fantastic piece. Look at the ivy and the leaves here. It's just incredible. And then this woman right here, the statue of this woman in this chair, that's like carved into the. I mean, can you imagine going there and there's a bench by a grave and it's that. It's just incredible. He's got a little jar there, which looks like it must have some organs or something in it. I don't know. He was like piecemealing the corpse or whatever instead of taking the whole thing. It's just incredible, these steps leading up to it. It's a nice piece. And when he's at sea dumping the basket, he says, I took advantage of the moment of darkness and cast my basket into the sea. The line work on this water is fantastic. It almost looks like wood, and what he did with the sky and the clouds and the nighttime sky, it's just really inventive and spectacular stuff. So he discovers his wife murdered by the monster. She was there, lifeless and inanimate, thrown across the bed. Heck of a lot of cross-hatching went into this curtain right there. Myself personally, I may have gone bigger with the figures, but again, he's trying to convey a message, and it's not a comic book piece of work; it's a piece of illustration, right? So he's not necessarily looking to be dynamic with it, as he is to be a storyteller. I entered the room where the corpse lay and was led up to the coffin. So Ken, look at what he's done here with this lamp overhead with these little
Can you zoom in?
goblins holding up the lamp.
Let me zoom in. Oh, yeah.
Just amazing. And then this is the cool one in here. This actually has the monster in it, right? Hiding in this little shed. He goes, "Accursed creator, why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turned from me in disgust?" That's a great piece. Just the emotion of and the body language of the creature, hiding there in this small shack. It's just, the light coming in from the cracks in the wall. It's really tremendous stuff. Then here, I believe this is him working on the female version. It was indeed a filthy process in which I was engaged. Look at the detail on that lab. It's just remarkable. All the little vials and bottles and everything that. But you can see, getting back to my initial point with this stuff, is that you can't do this in a comic book, right? There just isn't the time and there isn't the money to put this kind of work in. Can you imagine trying to do this in every single panel? It's just absurd. So here you got these guys trying to do, really high quality illustration and push it on fandom as, like fine art. And I don't mean like they were trying to trick anybody into believing it, because it really was. But it wasn't fine art in the sense that we recognize it today. It was just fine illustration, classic illustration, and these guys kind of spreading their wings a little bit and saying, I can do more than draw a Swamp Thing. Okay. And the third Frankenstein portfolio was actually published in Europe. So this one was really hard to get. I ended up getting this secondhand at a convention as well. When I saw it, I had no idea it was even out, right? And this actually does have a nice little folder in it. This has some pretty cool pieces in it. This one right here, he's facing off with the monster. And this one doesn't have the quotes at the bottom. So the first two portfolios writes and published himself through Trinosaurus Press. This, of course, was published by a European guy. Now, this was the first version of the print we saw earlier, and he rejected it because the monster was too small and there wasn't enough, it didn't have enough impact, he didn't think, which I agree with. This is a far inferior piece than the one that was in the other portfolio. This is a fantastic piece. And he doesn't even include this in the book. He said he didn't include this in the actual book because he felt it revealed too much. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but I do know this is an incredible piece of artwork, and it's really kind of unfortunate that it didn't make it into the actual publication of the Frankenstein book. But it's just really, really cool. There's another one where he's facing off with the monster. And I think at this stage, the monster's coming to see the bride that he's being made for him, and Frankenstein's just basically hacked her open and said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to create a mate for you. And this was published in 1980. So this was at the point where Wrightson was ready to go forward with the book. He was just finishing it up. So I think he started working on it in 76. And I think he finished probably around 1980. Because I think that's the last date on any of these illustrations is 1980. This is a tremendous piece right here. We've got all this negative space. Mm-hmm. The monster's up here. We got a few trees and then all this snow-covered ground. It's just hyper detailed right up in here, and then this white. It's just marvelous. Here's another great piece. The monster at a brook. The rocks and everything behind him there. Just incredible. Fabulous stuff. So these are the Frankenstein portfolios, which made up the bulk of Wrightson's portfolio work. I'm going to backtrack in a minute here when I get to the studio, but I'm not going to do it quite yet. So anyway, this was no envelope. It just came with the folder, and there's no certificate of authenticity. If there was, it got lost before I bought it. Now, he did this in 1978. Ooh, number 8 out of 1,000. How about that?
So I got a question.
Yeah, lay it on.
Is there a printed version of Wrightson's Frankenstein book that is the best edition, or are they pretty much all the same?
There's multiple versions. If you can get a hold of the Marvel version, which was the first one, Marvel, believe it or not, Marvel actually published the first version of it in hardcover, and that's the one to get, because Dark Horse did a later edition, but it printed a little dark. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not as good as the Marvel edition. Let me can I scooch back here just a little bit, and I'll go grab it real quickly.
Oh,
because I wanted to show something else as well.
holy cow.
Okay, that's the Marvel edition right there. There's a paperback of that. And we're pretty much all familiar with this wraparound cover that he did for it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Kind of
That's
a
a bad
glare.
reflection.
Yeah.
There you go. So this was the Marvel edition that came out in '82, I think. Might have been '83. I can't remember. But he tried to publish this himself, couldn't do it, so he had to go to Marvel, and Marvel was more than happy to accommodate him. So this is a wraparound cover. I think this piece sold, the original I saw it was huge, San Diego, for a lot of money. I think at the time someone paid 20 grand for it, and that was probably 20 some years ago. This piece is probably $500,000 or more now. So that was a good investment, whoever got it. But yeah, so this is the edition to get if you can. It's over $100, the hardcover. The paperback's probably cheaper. This is the Dark Horse edition that they published.
Move it down a little bit.
And it's nice. It's got nice cloth cover here. But I just think some of the printing in it was a little dark, but it's not bad at all. It's a nice edition. And this is probably pretty inexpensive compared to the other one. Okay, so I want to take a look at, this came out in 1978 through Sal Q Productions. And this, I think this is the only color portfolio that he did. This one's called Apparitions. And first of all, this envelope might be the best piece of artwork in the portfolio, and unfortunately it's just on the envelope and not a print on the inside. But you can see the pen and ink details of this zombie walking towards these two dudes there, and how he worked in the title of the portfolio into the piece. I mean, this is just really, between 1972 and 1980, Wrightson was just untouchable. He was so good. And this is right in that sweet spot of his greatest work. So these were all combination, I think, of dyes, watercolors, and acrylics, and probably some marker in there too. This is called Night's End, this particular print. This is a werewolf.
Some glare going a little bit, but not bad. There it is.
Right there. How's that? There we go. So real rich colors. That blue in there really is nice, and it kind of sets off. This is probably a blue-orange complementary. We've got your background color and a lot of your shadows all blue, and then of course the woman is, done in orange tones, so she really stands out. This is Hanover Fist caught stealing chickens at the Gentleman's Farmers Commune in 1897. That's the name of this piece. And we know, of course, Hanover Fist is a character that reappeared in Captain Stern later. But look how he brought in those orange and red highlights with a kicker light on the side of his figure to pick up some of that background color into the figure. Another real fun piece. He didn't do very much sci-fi stuff, so that's what's kind of interesting about this. Because the spaceship he did down here is actually pretty creative and innovative. Can you zoom in on that spaceship at all? Because it doesn't have a lot of... there's a lot of detail. Oops, there we go. A lot of detail in there.
Yeah, it doesn't quite.
Doesn't read real well because he didn't use any black line work in it. It's all done in tones. But it's really kind of cool. I think, of course, you got the bubble helmet space dude up there fighting apparently some horse guy who doesn't breathe in outer space. But I mean, it's a very bizarre scenario we're looking at here story-wise, but it is just a cool piece regardless. And then the last piece is my favorite in here. It's called You're New Here, Aren't You? And that dragon is just killer. I mean, I know a lot of guys go, "Oh, look, naked girl," but I didn't. You know, as a kid, when I got this, or a teenager, I was like, all I cared about was the dragon. I was like, "Look at that dragon!"
Well, and there's a way to draw
cool.
it so that it's still tasteful.
Right. But that's a great piece right there. And look at this tree, the amount of work he put in the background and stuff, and it's just amazing, just the amount of detail and work. And again, these guys were treating these illustrations as illustrations, as fine art. They weren't treating them as just like a comic book. I'm trying to meet my deadline, tell a story, which I'm not saying that they were hacking out their work in comics, but I mean, just the amount of detail and thought that just went into laying this particular piece out with the detail is pretty remarkable. And then you got the color work on top of it. So, and then this was the limited edition portfolio, so it had the extra black and white piece. And so there's a signed and numbered edition of this portfolio, and those have the black and white Barbarian Conan piece. That's not bad. And there we go. That's kind of cool. But there's also like a regular trade edition of this portfolio that has that doesn't have that plate in it. You just get the 4 color plates, and it's not signed either. Okay, this is the Edgar Rice Burroughs portfolio, and Wrightson just contributed one piece to this. This has this was actually a Dan Green, who did a lot of his work. You may remember him inking Silvestri on X-Men. Did a piece. Jeff Jones did a piece. Kaluta did a piece. Al Williamson did a piece, and Bernie Wrightson did a piece. And these are all Edgar Rice Burroughs themed pieces, right? This is the Dan Green piece. Might zoom out just a hair. This is really big. Yeah. So this is the Dan Green piece. And each one of these was signed and numbered by the particular artist, right? So this is 224 out of 500 by Dan Green. This is the Jeff Jones piece. Looks to be a Tarzan piece. Let me check again. This was the Dan Green was Pellucidar. Jeff Jones is Tarzan. Okay. And you can see the similarities stylistically these guys were working in. This is Kaluta doing something really bizarre. I was never a huge Kaluta fan. To me, this gets a little muddy in here, and but he's very much Kaluta's very much into aeronautics and airplanes and things. And so this is from Carson of Venus. Here's Al Williamson's John Carter of Mars piece, which again, I mean, I like Williamson. This piece is a little stiff for my tastes, but still a nice piece. And again, you notice this sort of vignette kind of thing. It's not a complete illustration in the sense that it's just, you know, you're getting a few focal points, and then the rest is left white. Okay, now here's the killer piece. I got this one in plastic because it's Wrightson, but that's the only piece in here I cared about. There's only one. It's the reason I got this portfolio was for this piece, the Monster Men. And I previewed this. We showed this on Wrightson Image of the Day several weeks ago, and you can see he's carrying a girl there, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't even care. Look at that monster, you know. And again, just a little vignette, right? But the amount of work and detail in that figure is so good. It's like, who cares if there's nothing else behind it? It's such a strong and striking image. This is an oversized portfolio, and to be honest with you, the plates they've got some bends in them, and they're not in great shape. Looks like there's a little water damage, but it's the only one I ever found. And that's like I think this portfolio gets up in the $1,000 range if you can find one. So I'm just happy to have one, even though the condition is not great. And of course, I've talked about doing a coloring book myself, and it's based on this concept, which again is me stealing from Wrightson. But this is his Color the Creature coloring book. Okay, and this is another one of his independent projects. This was published by Phil Suling, actually, who used to do big New York conventions back in the day. So it's a coloring book that on one side you've got some poem about the creature.
Over camera.
On one side, and then the illustration on the other. And you know, I've had people that, again, the illustrations I previewed for the coloring book I'm working on are like saying, well, this is too good for a coloring book. You think mine is too good for a coloring book? Look at this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, this is like a black and white illustration book, but it's one of those things you buy two of them, right? So you can color one and screw it up and then keep the other one for just as an art book. This is a really good, strong piece here of some ghoul eating out of a grave. That's pretty disgusting, but it's actually a really strong piece, though. And then a mummy. Some werewolves in the snow. That feels a little bit more like a coloring book, except you're going to color the snow. Maybe a light blue or something. I don't know. But that's pretty open in terms of, you know, inviting you to go in there and color. It's still a great piece. It's got this alien that looks very similar to the alien that showed up in Swamp Thing number 6. In case you're interested. This piece is in '74, so these are actually prior to him doing the Frankenstein stuff. But he was still working at Warren and doing this stuff too. So he was like branching out, trying to do more of his own stuff and less comic book work. It's early Frankenstein piece, 1974. Some chick about to get eaten by a plant. But just look at the amount of detail and work he put into that plant to give it some personality, if you will. Zombie killing an old dude before zombies were popular. Some goblins on a bridge, stone bridge. Again, you can't accuse him of not putting the work in on these drawings. There's some zombies coming out of the grave. Axe murderer seems to always work one of those into the this is probably the best piece in there, this old witch. Very EC looking, incredible line work. Now he would sell the originals to this, and a lot of times people would ask him to color the originals, and he would color the originals. So it was like, you know, whatever we can do as artists to, you know, pay our bills. And so you'll see several of these prints that people have, or not prints, but the original art of these that actually were hand colored by Wrightson. This one in particular I know got colored. So I guess they would, you know, see him in a New York convention. He'd have the artwork, and my guess is he probably sold these for, you know, $200, $300 a piece, which back in 1974, 75 was a heck of a lot of money. But now the value of these things is nuts. And I don't know what he would have charged him to hand color this. Of course, they reprint the cover in black and white so you can color it yourself. So this was some of the stuff that Wrightson did. Now, during this period of time, before I jump over to Barry Smith here, during this period of time, Wrightson, Barry Smith, Michael Clute, and Jeff Jones sort of combined efforts. Well, they didn't combine efforts, but they joined together to form what was basically a superstar studio at the time in New York. And they rented this one big floor in this house, and they each got a corner of this big warehouse. And from what I understand, none of them were there working at the same time most of the time. They would all have like different shifts so that they weren't up there, you know, hanging out and talking instead of working, right? But that's where Wrightson created some of this really, really tremendous artwork. And this is a pretty expensive book if you can find it, but Dragon's Dream put this together, and it was there's a chapter on each one of them and the work they produced in the studio. And so it opens up with Jeff Jones, who again, Jeff Jones wasn't, I mean, he did some stuff for heavy metal and he did some stuff for National Lampoon, but he wasn't, you know, he did some covers for DC and things like that, but he didn't do a lot of comic book work. He was doing book covers and illustration and stuff, right? And Can you see that all right? Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and paintings and things like that, that had a fantasy edge to them, but were very I don't know, esoteric in some ways. Um, you know, I don't really know. I think he was probably as close to being a fine artist as any of them in terms of his subject matter. This kind of has a, you know, it's a little bit of a barbarian feel to it, you know, a little fantasy feel to it, something that's maybe a little bit more tangible in terms of subject matter that you could look at and go, oh, okay, that could be a Conan piece or something, right? Yeah, but he did weird stuff like Three Ages of Woman, you know, young, middle age, or I guess teenage, and then like the birthing years of an old lady. I don't know. I wouldn't buy that and hang it on my wall, but you know, it's stuff like this, which is interesting, very Pyle-esque. Who was an illustrator from the late 1800s, early 1900s. Howard Pyle did a lot of pirate paintings and stuff. That's very reminiscent of what Jones is doing here. And then he had this idle comic strip that he did for, I want to say, National Lampoon. It was very interesting and strange. But anyway, so he wasn't my focus in this book. And there's some Kaluta pieces in here, and they're all very strange, but interesting stuff. And Kaluta, of course, he did a little bit of work on the Shadow for DC, did a lot of House of Mystery covers and stuff, but didn't do a lot of interior work either. So he was off kind of doing his own thing almost from the get-go. And he had all these very sort of, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it Art Deco or Nouveau sort of influenced pieces that I think some of them work, some of them don't work as well. But all very interesting, that's for sure. This is from a portfolio I used to have. I don't know why I don't have it anymore. It was called The Same Dream Night After Night. It was a black and white piece in the portfolio. And writes in a piece in there. I think it was a portfolio of fantasy. Anyway, I don't want to get lost spending a ton of time on these guys because it's there's some nice shadow pieces there. Oops. That's an oil painting there, the red, and some black and white layouts for some shadow stuff. There's a nice watercolor painting, right? I don't know how much time will be.
An hour and a half.
Okay. Am I boring, Shelley?
Yep.
All right, this is a killer piece right there. Conan piece. But anyway, so these guys formed this studio, and the good stuff for me, anyway, is in the back. We have a preview of Wrightson's, some of his dinosaur stuff, some poster work he did. If you remember the Toccata and Fugue in D minor, this pencil drawing was a poster or a limited edition print. Council to Minion, which is basically Satan on this cliff overlooking hell, I would guess. I had the original pencil to this. And this is interesting because they show you the 4 stages of this poster called Shh. It's like a poster because they didn't want to wake up the dragon. And you see, there's a pencil rough, and then he light tabled that pencil rough onto this painting, this illustration board right there. Then he inked it with what looks like wash, and then watercolored over the top of that. And I have the original pencil, or I have the original pencil drawing to this, and I sold it. I'm not sure why. Some of his, some more print stuff that he did for Christopher Enterprises. This vampire piece, Taking No Chances. Hunter. Then we got some Frankenstein preview stuff. And then, of course, pieces from his Edgar Allan Poe portfolio, which were all oil paintings, and most of them unsuccessful. And I think he would admit that as well. The pencil drawings were tremendous, but a lot of it turned out very dark when he tried to do an oil painting. Here's a pencil drawing of the Telltale Heart, which ended up being an oil painting, and it ended up being very, very dark, and you couldn't really tell what was going on. So you have a bunch of stuff in there, and then you have some good Barry Smith stuff in here as well. I love this one from Barry Smith, Withering. He said he did the whole thing of just trees, kind of an autumn picture, but then he put the ghost in there because he didn't think anybody would buy an illustration or a print just of trees. So you can see that little ghost spirit kind of standing right there in the middle of the road with all the tree stuff. Let's see. This is from Smith's portfolio, the four ages, and they all look like Conan type illustrations. This was a colored portfolio. Each one of these plates is in the portfolio. These are all really cool. This is a cool book if you can find it. Okay, so we want to move a little quicker because Shelley's asleep. And one of the things that Barry Smith did was he formed the Gorblimey Press, which, much like Wrightson did the Tyrannosaurus Press, this is his own thing to publish his own works, right? This is kind of like a Gorblimey Press sketchbook. And again, this stuff can be had on eBay if you can find it. That's a great piece right there, this Robin Hood piece. You don't see that very often, but it's a really nice piece, a lot of detail. And I went through a stage where I was copied elements of what Barry Smith was doing. That looks like Jamie. There's some Conan stuff, some Gothic type illustration pieces. Looks like a self-portrait right there. But anyway, this is a book he put out, and if you're looking to search it on eBay, you can certainly find it for the right price. And then, of course, he put out the Gorblimey Press catalog from 75 to 76, which basically you could order prints and stuff from him. And so, again, perfect example of him kind of doing his independent thing. Okay, so he put out several portfolios as well. This is probably the most famous, and this is the Barry Smith's Conan, or called Two Penny. So you have the little two penny right there. It's called the Two Penny Conan portfolio. This is fairly expensive, like $600–800 depending. Again, this is published by Middle Earth, the same people that did the Frazetta portfolio. Signed and numbered by Smith, 339 out of 1,000. So it's, obviously Conan pieces. And again, these guys trying to do a higher level of detail and illustration that they would have normally done in comics. This, of course, is the famous one, Lord of the Black Corsairs. And this is actually turned into a poster and a color poster that you could get. And they also used this, I believe, for the cover of the Conan Treasury edition. So just a fantastic piece, kind of neat piece. Another one of Conan with his bow and arrow. Conan in the snow. Oops. This is a pretty cool one too, as he's on horseback right in the middle of a major battle here. So anyway, again, signed and numbered limited edition portfolio. Now I think a lot of us expect to see this stuff from Frazetta, Wrightson, and Barry Smith. And this is what these guys were doing. They were trying to create this market for this stuff where they could be independent artists. And rather than be comic book artists, but draw the kind of subject matter they wanted to draw and just make a living selling prints and portfolios. The interesting thing was they did this for a period of time, but they all ended up back in comics, which makes you believe that maybe for a period of time there was some money in this, but possibly not long term. And it sort of fell out of favor, this whole sort of thing, process. And by the 80s, comics, because of comic shops and Burns' X-Men and all, Simonson's Thor and a variety of other things, Miller on Daredevil, all the focus went back into comic books. And this whole sort of Renaissance period of illustration for comic book artists sort of went by the wayside. But this is Nestor Redondo, so you can see everybody trying to get into the act. And Redondo was quite a good illustrator. Viking Warrior and the Valkyries, right? So this is signed and numbered by Redondo. It's number 79 out of or pardon me, number 83 out of 1,000. Malacus and Maganda, I have no idea what that means. It's some sort of, I'm sure, fairy tale or whatever. Osiris and Isis. Odysseus and Circe. And again, you can just, the exquisite detail in line work is something that is pretty much evident in all this work, right? It was like breaking out of the boundaries of the restrictions of comics and deadlines and storytelling, panel storytelling, to get into single illustration type art that really reflected sort of classical illustration, which would have been classical illustration to those guys even. And of course, I look at it that same way, but talking about guys that were doing this type of stuff in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and even before. So anyway, that's a nice portfolio by, and that was by the Shanes brothers. I was a big Cole fan. This was produced by Middle Earth. This is John and Marie. Marie did the pencils, John did the inks. This is a little bit more familiar to what their comic book work looked like, except, this kind of rock detail and stuff like that you wouldn't have found in the comics. But they, of course, drew the first 10 issues of King Cole. And there's 2 Cole portfolios. This is the better one. I just think the illustrations are more interesting in it than the first one. With that cross-hatching and all that line work in there. So I got to believe Marie did the layouts for this, and then John went in over the top. And they basically were just recreating scenes from stuff they did in the comics, I think. There's Cole versus Thulsa Doom. And then Cole versus the Snake Men, which was from the second issue of Cole. And Monsters on the Prowl 16 finished actually the story up. That's some really cool stuff. I'm a big John Severin fan, so I really like this stuff. But this has maybe a little bit more of a comic book feel to it, in the sense that they didn't really alter their drawing style much. They just kind of put in a little bit more detail and line work, so it feels more illustrative. But then it's Cole versus Thulsa Doom again. And that had a nice little folder to protect it. And like I said, everybody got into the act at some point. Boris Vallejo, Midnight Angels. This has some nudity in it, so be prepared. This came with a nice envelope and certificate of authenticity, of course. Artemis published this, signed by Boris, right there, 875 out of 1200. This is basically just, imposing his model and then adding some fantasy elements to it and doing a lot of pen and ink work. And Boris did some really nice work in the 70s. The stuff started getting a little posed and stilted in the 80s when he was really just cranking stuff out, 80s and 90s. But his early work is really, really nice. And again, this is all photo reference stuff, but still, just the line work and the detail that he put in there was really, really nice. Had a little bit of energy and looseness to it that kind of escaped some of his later paintings where they became a little bit stiff and posed. But anyway, so that's Boris. Almost done, Shelley. Hang in there. She shouldn't have drank that White Claw.
Say anything.
Huh?
So I'm not going to say anything.
This is Nebre's. Rudy Nebre's did one called Creatures of the Night. This game with folder as well. Again, you've got your certificate of authenticity. And Nebre's doing his typical wild and crazy detail, just nutty stuff. You can get a commission from this guy, do it. He's still doing them. Heroic fantasy there. Kind of looks John Carter of Mars-ish. This is kind of a cool one here.
Put it down.
Most of these came with, you know, 6 prints, 6 plates in here. Again, on nice high quality paper, offset printing. So this is stuff I've collected over the years because I'm into this stuff, and I do enjoy these guys taking their stuff to the next level, which they really did here. I only bring up this Neil Adams portfolio. This is a later one. He Xeroxed all these. It's a piece of crap, so don't waste your money getting it. The reproduction on it is horrible. He basically Xeroxed images on nice paper. So not, and I love Neil's stuff, but I'm just telling you that's not a great portfolio. All right, put it back in there and scooch. So if you want to be a completist, and I know Shelley does,
Power of my life, I'll be right back.
yay! You guys were supposed to comment this whole time, so Shelley
They were, but some of them were like, Jeff needs an Auntie Anne pretzel. I was waiting for you to take a breath.
I was trying to get through it. Okay, so we're back. So anyway, the other thing here was I wanted to give real quick that so the Wrightson portfolios were the Edgar Allan Poe portfolio, which I don't have, National Cartoonist Society #2 portfolio, where he did the bear picture holding the girl that I showed you earlier, portfolio of Fantasy, which has a Frankenstein plate in it, Friends of Old Gerber. A bunch of guys got together to do a portfolio to help Gerber raise enough money for a lawsuit against Marvel to get Howard the Duck back, which didn't work. And then he did a Captain Stern piece in there, but it's not a great piece. And then Abyss portfolio, he did a nice piece in it, just one plate. And of course, Barry Smith had the Excalibur portfolio, which was characters from Excalibur, not the Marvel X-Men, but the King Arthur stuff. Fantastic Islands, which I previewed from the book. Four Ages, Robert E. Howard portfolio, and Siblia. So there's a couple other things I wanted to show you here on screen real quick. Well, I don't know how real quick it'll be, but this was Barry Smith's, again, self-published through the Gorblimey Press. This was the, I believe, Fantastic Islands portfolio, and had black and white prints like this on the inside. This is Solomon Kane from his Robert E. Howard portfolio. Red Sonja from the same portfolio. Those were in color. Frank Bruner even got into the act. He did a Brand Mac Morn portfolio, which is Robert E. Howard character. Some nice pieces in there. Of course, his most famous is his Alice in Wonderland, which is this nude chick walking through, Wonderland. But had some nice pieces in there. Some of them that weren't as successful. Jim Starlin tried to get into it, and he did a portfolio called Insanity, which I had at one time, but it wasn't, he didn't take anything next level, in my opinion. It was just basically what I was seeing from him in Warlock and Captain Marvel, and just some weird pieces that, without the superheroes, were less appealing to me. And even guys like Val Merrick would did some portfolios like this one, particularly Obsessions. So what does all this mean, Shelley? Shelley, I got to shake her to wake her up. We had a period where a lot of artists tried, and Plug did a little bit of this as well, that were briefly in comics and then tried to branch out and do something in the same genre, fantasy genre, but do it as a fine arts thing and try to make a living selling prints, portfolios, and did very little comic work at that time. And like I said, they seemed to be successful at it for a period of time, and then it seemed to taper off. And then you found most of these guys working their way back into comics for, I guess, a regular paycheck. Let's see. Joe says, do you think you'll ever do a portfolio line of prints similar to the detail output of the Wrights and plates? It would be amazing to see your pieces. The closest thing I've done is some of those coloring book pieces that I previewed on earlier streams. But I've tried to do it. You know, when I was back in the Studiosaurus back in the 90s here in Portland, I was always trying to force the rest of the guys in the studio, we should do a portfolio, we should do prints, we should do this. And they never really took off. And part of the reason was, I think that you have to have a certain level of stature to be able to sell that kind of stuff, to move at, you know, to say, yeah, I'm not just popular because I'm drawing X-Men, I'm popular because I'm really good and I'm drawing X-Men. And you have to get to a point where you can step away from the comics and people are following you because you're the artist, not because you drew X-Men or because you drew Wonder Woman. And certainly in the early 90s, where a lot of us were just forming our careers, we didn't have the clout really to pull something like that off, even if there was interest in it. And I think part of the reason why you see some of this stuff dying off or has died off is because the level of illustration being done in comic books today is on par with what we're seeing back there. So it's like, why would someone pay extra money to get a limited edition print of something or other when it's very reflective of what they could just buy from the same artist in a comic book story? So there's a lot of elements that go involved in that. I would like to do that. I mean, that's where my heart is really, but I just don't know that the market is really there. Yeah, of course, K Manifesto is referring to Wrightson's coloring book. It's hard to believe that was actually in a coloring book. You know, can you imagine buying that for your kid? Don't open it and don't color in it. Yep, that's true. Dan Green did, but oh, this is funny. You see this? I'm showing that Wrightson dragon piece. He goes, well, the dragon's naked also. So we'll see. You know, I might get back into that and doing that someday. But so anyway, that's I got this feeling that I should draw something.
Do something.
Shelley's mad at me because I didn't entertain enough. Too scholarly. The ratings are in the toilet.
Yeah, you should draw something else people want to see.
I will. Okay, so Shelley, you're saying I shouldn't ever do a show like this again?
No, but what I'm saying, you don't have to cover every portfolio ever known to mankind.
Well, I'm just trying to show a variety of and make my point, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, you beat that dead horse. You made your point.
Shelley doesn't have a love of the comic
No,
art.
I don't.
All right. Don't ask me why, but well, I guess it's kind of obvious. I was going to say I've got this low-key feeling going, but I guess it's probably because of the television show, right?
Oh, when I brought up Loki. I want to draw Loki.
Well, you were thinking of Tom Hiddleston, though, right?
Well, just Loki in general.
I'm kind of classic Loki.
I know.
I'm just going to go the extra mile here and do a little blue pencil layout before I So I have these weird feelings of guilt right now that I sort of like the bad show.
No,
Shelley's not arguing with me.
Oh, somebody asked if I was giving you the jellyfish look.
Oh yeah,
about 1,000,000 times.
Shelley kept
Well,
looking over
thought,
her
like,
shoulder at me, and
how many were you gonna do? Up, up, up.
Yeah, Shelley gave me that look more than once.
Some portfolios. I didn't realize that it was going to be,
well,
5 million of them.
I tend to be a completist.
I understand that, but you could have done a complete rights and on people back me up here.
Well, it's true. You never, it's hard to gauge how long something like that will take and how interesting or uninteresting it'll become to the audience until you get into it.
Oh, Humphrey Bear. I haven't seen him in a while.
He just woke up, probably. What does Fox Mulder have to say? He says, well, do you find as the years progress, your artistic abilities continue to improve, or do you think you hit a ceiling and just have to maintain the level you're at? That depends on the artist. I could make a pretty strong argument that I'm doing the best work of my career right now. And I don't think that would be an inaccurate statement. But there's a lot of guys that have success very, very early and kind of fit into a style that really works and has made them popular, and they stay there. So it depends on how insecure you are, and I'm extremely insecure, and how hard you're willing to work and how hard you have to work to stay relevant in the industry. I think sort of is what drives you. And I've always been looking over my shoulder my entire career. So I never got to a point where I was comfortable and felt like, yeah, this is really working well. I mean, you have pieces you do that you think look really good and you're real happy with, but I don't know. All I have to do is pick up somebody else's work and go, wow, that's really good. I need to work harder. I need to improve. So, so I'd say for me, I haven't reached a point where I'm comfortable just kind of coasting. And one of the reasons I'm doing Wraith of God is because I want the challenge of doing, something that's taking place in the Old West, and having to draw stuff that I wouldn't normally draw in a regular comic book, which is, generally guns, cars, tech, buildings, things like that, or modern buildings. Whereas this Western, it's, you got to get the costumes right. You're going to be in desert towns. You're going to have a lot of horses, carriages, things like that. Shotguns, 6-shooters. Did you develop a kink in your neck looking over your shoulder all that time? And how did you drive back and forth to work like that?
Looking over your shoulder all the time.
Thank you, Jeff.
A lot of chiropractor bills.
Well, this is interesting. Here's Lewis says, it's funny. My first portfolio set from 1993, I still have a ton of, but the print sets I made between 2000 and 2012, I sold out of. Better work, probably, progress, more recognizable. Your name, I mean. Yeah, I know Mike has a real, I don't know why he doesn't like Tombstone. Did you like Tombstone, Shelley? Kurt Russell?
Oh.
It's one of Mike Miller's pet peeves, apparently. So, Shelley, do you have plans on watching all of the Loki television show, or are you just kind of content to?
Nope. Well, you guys watched them without me, so I won't understand any of it, probably.
Our daughter was really into it for some reason. She's
Yeah.
not really a Marvel person. Maybe she's a Tom Hiddleston person.
Maybe.
So I got to ask you guys, what do you think of this time slot? Moving up to 4, instead of doing it at 5:30 Pacific time. Better, worse, and different? Like Kick says, it works.
That seemed early to me, but that's just because it was different.
Because Ethan Van Skyvers was going to do a new show, and I didn't want to overlap with his show, so I moved it up, but now that's getting moved to Monday nights, apparently. So I could move this back to the 5:30 time slot.
Well, you got to think of where. So if you start at 5:30, it could be 8:30, East Coast. I don't know. Why did you choose 5:30 originally?
Well, because I didn't think it was, I thought it was late enough for people on the West Coast that, you know, whatever they were doing Sunday, they were done doing. And then I figured it was still early enough on the East Coast that we went a couple hours, it wouldn't run too late, even though it still runs to 10:30 or 11 if we go 2 to 2.5 hours. So I thought, well, maybe this might be better for East Coast people at this time. And but then maybe not as good for West Coast. So I don't know. John said, luckily my Zoom meeting ended early today. So I did. John's pointed out the obvious fact here that I clearly refilled my black off camera and I have to admit, it was messy. It was ugly. It ran down the sides and got all over my hands. So Eric Johansson says it's 3 a.m. So where are you at?
Cow.
Leg Kick didn't like Loki, but he liked Tombstone. You know, I do actually. And that's kind of one thing we sort of take pride in as comic book artists is we have to be able to draw everything. And because you never know when you're going to have to draw everything. So, yeah, I mean, when I worked in commercial art back in the early 90s, you know, those guys, they could do illustration, but, you know, absolutely everything was photo referenced, you know, and which is fine, but, you know, drawn out of your head was, it just, you know, you didn't really do it. And that's sort of, you have to do that as a comic book artist because you just don't have time to pull reference for absolutely every single thing you draw. And here we go. Jeff Potts says, I'm usually gaming from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so my smart alecky comics will undoubtedly suffer from distraction. So I guess that means he likes the earlier time then? Of course, even if I did later, we'd still encroach on his game time. He just happened to cook early today. Well, see, that was the other thing I was thinking. If I got done at 6 o'clock or 6:30, then it's still plenty of time to make dinner around here. So there's a lot of thought that went into it, believe it or not. The thing with drawing classic Loki is there's never enough room for those horns that just go right out of the picture. All right, so as I finish this guy up, how about let's take a suggestion to wrap the show up from the audience to do one more piece. The first character I ever drawn the best was Mickey Mouse when I was just years old. How many years old? I don't know, Jerome. I have to rely on you to let us know that. It's true. Jeff, despite the fact that he's distracted by gaming, still manages to get slapped around quite a bit on the show. So I don't know that your commentary really suffers all that much anyway.
What?
Oh, I feel bad. you want to bail, you can. Who was it that wanted me to do a show on the comics? It'd have been worse than this.
There's some suggestions, I guess.
Predator's too much effort. Well, I already did, John. I already did the Thor frog. Have I ever done Burns' version of Wendigo? I don't. Is Burns' version of Wendigo different than the other versions of Wendigo? All right, I'm gonna do Dark Side. The heck, get me warmed up here. And no, I haven't seen the Snyder cut. I did a Tachyon pinup once that had Dark Side in it. It was published by, I think it was DC's Who's Who book or something like that. Eric Johansson wants me to draw the real Thor, but I'm guessing Eric is somewhere in those Norwegian countries if it's 3 a.m., so he might be a Thor guy.
Do you want to take your comment down?
Oh.
Oh,
He just hit his head on that. A
Yeah.
dog just jumped and hit his head on that. So, Shelley, if you were to do the programming for next week, what would you want to see?
Just I want to see you draw.
So you're more interested in the action than me talking about other people's art. That's what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. Maybe just not for so long. Maybe. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's what they want, but just watch the number go down and down and down.
That's our rating. The more I talk, the more our ratings plummeted. Well, see, here I thought everybody might get bored with me drawing every week.
Oh.
And so I thought, well, I'll bring a little, you know, artistic culture perhaps from the past, do a little, you know, comic book history, if you will, a little analysis, and perhaps it got too dry. So did anybody ever explain why our dark side's face is all cracked, like it's made of rock? Do we know that? Does anybody know the answer to that question? Or is that just one of those inexplicable Kirby things? I was going to slap you for that, but then I realized I really shouldn't. So
it's all right.
yeah, leg kick didn't leave you, so there's that, right? So I still have one person. So Lewis Bright Raven says, "Well, I admit I thought it went a little long in the tooth. You need another artist who knew the subject matter to play off of."
Well, that certainly wasn't me.
Yeah, so maybe that's
well, maybe just focusing on one person at a time, or I don't know.
You know what the real problem was? I didn't get all my video movies done before
Maybe
this show that I had planned.
I don't know.
Because, you know, Shelley, we really push this as a variety show.
We do.
And when there's variety, you need variety to make it variety.
Mm-hmm.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.
So there's a little song and dance. You know, should we throw a little dance in there? I think we got a little music.
No.
No.
Such a dork.
I think
they don't want to see it.
Oh, they do too. Wait a minute, what is this?
What? No.
Like, we got this stuff on here, and it's like, do you guys remember this? That
was the poem.
We should watch the poem.
It's just that was just the intro to the poem.
Okay, all right.
Silly.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
Wait a minute. See, look.
What? Show it, show it. It's already been shown. Oh.
All right. So way back, how long ago was this, Shelley?
Oh, I don't know, 2007-ish.
We had
2008, I think. I don't know.
We had been promising on this show for weeks that we were going to have Shelley do some dancing for some tap dancing, right? And so we did this. We finally found this video of Shelley tap dancing during. It was a group of moms that were part of the dance studio where my daughter danced when she was younger. And this is where Shelley gained her nickname, Shelley Showtime. So if you haven't seen it before, here's a chance to relive Shelley's glorious stage moments. Let's take a look once again at Shelley Showtime.
gosh, that was so long.
And that's
Yeah,
Shelley Showtime right there. There it is.
it's so John.
It's showtime, baby.
Oh,
Look at Jeff was demanding
paybacks.
it.
Paybacks.
Show it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Shelley used to be, in your younger, previous self, like very self-conscious, would never have done something like that.
Very, very.
And now
I don't care.
she gets after it.
And I was super shy growing up. So there you have it. Silly. Oh, David. Woo! Yeah.
Eric Johansson, whiter than the Vikings. Oh.
Yep.
No, Shelley's a good sport. She let me not only let me do it the first time and show that, but just let me show it again. So
Yeah. Oh man. I'm in so much trouble. Oh,
was it?
it's nice. Appreciate the fact you're down to earth and bring us into your home each week to interact with you. Well, luckily not the whole house.
Yeah.
Although the studio is about the same condition as the rest of the house right now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, I keep trying to bring my daughter in, but she won't do it. She was in a student film at college, and she was less than thrilled with her performance in it.
It was,
and she was actually
funny.
pretty good.
She was pretty good, yeah.
So she's like, doesn't want to be involved in anything on camera at the moment.
Well, especially today, she had her wisdom teeth out on Friday, so she's a little puffy.
Yes.
Ooh, answer to dark side. There we go.
His skin turned to stone and cracked from the pain of the transformation after he murdered his brother and claimed the Omega Force. Only
I would have never
Louis
guessed.
Brightraven would have known that.
David. Oh.
I got a little bit of everything in there for David on that one. Well, see, I didn't know that, but again, I'm not really a DC guy, which seems really odd since I worked for him almost exclusively for what, 12 years. It's hard, it seems remarkable to even say that. You know, I see stuff come up on my timeline on Facebook, and it's like there's a post of a amethyst. And it says posted 9 years ago. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Is that even possible? I think I'm motivated here to use up a lot of black on this, so I may be refilling this pen.
Full.
Yep, might as well drain it. Do you still use chalk in the classroom?
Oh, I hate chalk. No.
You hate it because it's messy, or you hate the sound of it?
Yes. I hate it, the feeling on my hands, on my clothes. No. Almost all classrooms are either whiteboards or like a smart board, or like mine's both.
Then you get marker all over your hands, right?
No, the dry erase doesn't really. And I end up a little bit because I will erase mistakes.
I remember you used to come home and you have the
was
heel
the
of your
overhead.
hand was just like covered
all down
with
my
ink.
arm. Yeah,
Yep.
it was the overhead projector.
Oops. running out of ink.
Oh, jeez.
Got a little bold there, and now I may be paying the price.
Gonna have to refill it in person. Yeah, smart boards are really cool. I like it very much. Oh, better fill her up.
Well, it might be actually the most exciting part of the show.
Well, what is that one? 100?
It's right here.
Or there's one right here.
Yeah, but I think they're all bone dry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Hey.
nice find.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and juicy.
Maybe that was the one you filled and the other one wasn't. Considering your desktop looks like a hurricane blew through here.
It does.
Ink refill. So do you always just make a big mess when you refill?
Well,
Is that the problem?
yeah, well, okay. The black is thicker, okay, as you might imagine. It's more of a varnish than the lighter grays.
Okay.
And so it tends to clog a little bit. So you're pushing on the bottle to force the ink out, and then it'll clog and go and kick back up and then overflow. And then you got a mess. That's kind of what my problem is, I think.
Let's just see. Oh, Jeff has a problem with sniffing dry erase markers.
We're talking.
Ooh. So what inspired you to get into sketching? Or just art in general?
Well, if you want to get into the sketching portion of this is all a product of convention.
Yeah.
You know, people wanting artwork that you can get done quickly at a show so they can take some art home with them. Once that became a thing, you know, we all of us, I mean, as artists, started working on techniques to, you know, provide convention sketch options for, you know, people that maybe didn't have several $100s to buy an original page. So, you know,
David,
what did he say now?
you dark side of Hitler mustache. Oh, 9, you didn't.
If I put that up on the screen, YouTube will shut me down.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll have to leave David's comment in the comments.
Do you ever draw on the computer?
Nope.
No. He does color
Yes.
on the computer. But, no, he's what you call it, a purist? What do you call it?
Old-fashioned, elderly.
Oh.
I like to have an original piece of artwork when I'm done. And it's easier to correct stuff when you're working on computer, working digitally, which is the appeal of that, I think. But I have never been one to worry about efficiency because I've always done it fairly quickly. You know, been able to meet deadlines and so forth. So, you know, figuring out a way to do something faster has never really been something that I concern myself with. Look at that. A new subscriber despite my rather...
Oh, they just came in now.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't... Oh, my Frankenstein didn't work. That pretty much speaks volumes to how the show's gone today.
It didn't work. There you go.
It was late, but yeah. So I asked Shelley what she thought of the show today.
Boo!
No, I just think it was really long.
Oh, this is why I don't have a page anymore.
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook page. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not using it either anymore.
Are you? Are you off Facebook?
Well, they
Won't let you
not gonna
put certain things on there. Is what you're trying to say.
Well, I just don't like the fact that they're
Censoring material. Is that what you're trying to say?
And then targeting people. Minorlikey.
Tis true.
Okay.
I don't like this either.
Oh my goodness. Only 16 more till you're at 1,000.
Wow, we're
Thanks
still
for checking
close.
like
Yeah, you know, we're like I'll tell you, I'm real pleased with what's been happening on the Wraith of God graphic novel. The signups for that have been going really, really strong, and I hope you guys, if you haven't done it yet, to please do that. In fact, let's show the video. Should we show the video?
Okay, but see if you can make it full screen. That doesn't help.
No, that didn't help.
It's on, yeah.
Hmm.
You have to share the window. Sorry, I have to click like 15,000 buttons to.
Okay, that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we share the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and then go
Now
full.
full, maybe. Do it.
Oh, okay. But will I be able to?
Do it. Do it, even if it's wrong. But I don't know if that's gonna.
Yeah, see, I don't know that I can push the button now.
Try it.
But where's the button? The button's behind
Well,
this.
you have to go like this.
Oh, actually, you know
have
what I
to
need
do
to do?
that.
Hang on.
Oh, goodness.
There.
There you go.
Okay, so now let's try it. We're all,
What
what's
are you
it?
doing?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, go up to watch the video, maybe.
All right, how about that? I think it worked. Okay, so we're back. Well, you would think that for as long as I've been doing this show that I would have this stuff figured out, but screen sharing and then bringing in another screen and trying to manipulate that screen so that it does a certain thing on your screen.
Oh, it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work?
No.
So your campaign is named Click to Exit Full Screen.
Yep, that's what showed apparently.
Aaron, fail. Wow.
Oh,
This is
what a day.
what a day we're having. So I guess the only thing I can do is do it actual
It's
size.
easiest with 2 monitors, but we don't have that.
Yeah. So if I'd have to do it like this, and then just and then do this, and it should work, right?
I don't know.
Okay, that I know worked.
Did it work? Well, we tried to go full size there, Sparky.
We tried to go full size and it didn't work. You know, we were getting full screen on our end, but apparently you guys weren't getting anything on yours. So what is that song? It's on iMovie. I have no idea.
Shelley on the drums against his head.
See, now the show's picking up. It's pick on Aaron and it gets good. So anyway, that is
it's on YouTube as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what it was. So you can go to YouTube, or we should have just had it on YouTube.
Yes.
To play.
Well, no, because I have to keep this screen open, so I don't
figure it out later. Why don't you draw something? Quit talking
and start
drawing, man. It's the Shane Davis style of streaming. Present yourself as a punching bag and make a lot of money.
well, except they'll make a lot of money part.
Darn it, we forgot about that part. Dang it.
We got half of it down. So
that's right. Apple potato. Next live stream, expect your name to be Aaron Sparky Lopresti. How about just Sparky? Sparky, draw fat Albers.
Hey.
David,
he's bringing it. What are you getting at, Lewis?
Is it a creep?
What are you getting at?
More like Spanky. Oh my gosh.
All right.
It's
Fat Albert has a drink for you. Oh, well.
I'm gonna go check on our puffy-faced kid.
Shelley has finally had enough. Yes, this is on its way to being Wonder Woman. I don't know why. I've drawn plenty of Wonder Womans in my life. Got to get that waist and hips right. Got it. So the question is, does he have a pencil someplace? I just had one. How do I not have a pencil now? That's just outrageous. Hang on. Okay. So that is, of course, a coal erase, light blue. And I like them because they erase. The non-photo blues are too waxy and they're really hard to erase. But these actually do erase. And of course, if you're doing a comic book page, for example, and like I have done throughout my career. Camera's caught up on my, there we go. Caught up on my chair. You don't have to erase the blue pencil, because all you have to do is go into Photoshop and drop out the blue. And so even if it scans, you can get rid of it pretty easily. Now, if I end up doing a color piece, it's a little bit problematic, but I can erase it, so, or at least most of it, as long as I don't press too hard. Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of troublesome because that's why I did spent a lot of time pimping the Garbage Man trade paperback, because it kind of was available for order before I launched Wraith of God. They just sort of ran into each other. It wasn't necessarily my plan to have them both out at the same time. It's just how it worked out. And so it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like pimping two things at once. It's kind of like how thin do you want to spread everybody's money? But obviously, I have a lot more to lose with Wraith of God than I do with Garbage Man, because Garbage Man is already being picked up by somebody else, and it's going to be available through comic shops and through Amazon. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to see that and buy that, as opposed to Wraith of God, where you sort of got one chance. And so I'm sort of weighing the benefits of, trying to pimp both of them and pimp one more than the other, and sort of lose focus on what I'm trying to get accomplished. So it's a difficult proposition, to be honest with you. Because, of course, you're referring to the new super team that appears in Garbage Man for the first time, was originally called Creeps. And it was involved. I did some of the early page work on that in an ash can for Studiosaurus. And there was going to be a series called Creeps, but that never got off the ground. And so, and I can't use that name anymore because Dan Mishkin and I can't remember who the artist was, did one of the story in the mid to late 90s. And it was more about circus freaks, I think, what they were doing, but it was called Creeps, and that was kind of the name of my book. And so now they're called something else.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm calling them the Nightclub. Get it?
I got it.
So yeah, Louis Breyer was saying, "Why aren't you pimping Garbage Man more?"
Mm.
It's like, well, I'm trying to pimp both, I guess, without having people feel that Aaron's offering too much product at once.
Aaron, all day. Oh wait, that was today.
Oh! Shelley leaves and comes back, and
little refresher.
Yes, Tom Mandrake did it. That is correct. Yes, of course, he's referring to the Garbage Man trade paperback that is now available for pre-order through from Dark Horse Comics through Amazon and your local comic shop. It will be in comic shops or in stores in November of this year. So 18 pages of new material featuring the all-new superhero team, the Night Club. And much like Wraith of God, featuring characters I created back in the 90s.
Nice.
That have been sitting around waiting for their chance, and now is their chance.
Very patiently.
Yes. And of course there's this, and we don't know what this is, but we're anxiously waiting for it. So yeah, so you can go on Amazon and order the Garbage Man trade paperback right now. And you can also go to my Indiegogo page and order, not order, but get on the mailing list for Wraith of God. I'm offering you multiple opportunities to do stuff. Oh. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, gotcha.
Start drawing my own characters instead of other people's characters. There's something to be said for that, I think. No show would be complete.
Yeah.
Without our dog barking.
Wouldn't know what to do unless we were yelling at the dog. Boogie! What's it? You're okay.
I always do the old style Wonder Woman. When I say old style, I mean the style when I drew the series. This is the outfit she wore. So, God, these hips are not working at all. I'm having a day, aren't I? Having a day. I wonder if I went. See, even we artists have times where you're just like, man, this just ain't working. I'm going to bail on the whole thing. I will say this, though. The one of my stretch goals for Wraith of God is going to be adding an epilogue to the book that sort of ties in the Garbage Man stuff, the new Garbage Man material, with Wraith of God and sort of this whole Lopresti-verse vision that I have. See, the thing is, unless you get right on top of your drawing, sometimes if you're at an angle like this, you can elongate the figure a little bit because your perspective is not straight on. And that's why I have my drafting table at such an extreme angle, or at least I did. It was, not quite 90 degrees, but was it close. So I was looking straight on to the drawing, and that way, when you're looking at the drawing, say if this is directly straight down from my eye line, right, like this, okay, but if I start to do that, your eye automatically foreshortens the figure, and so you draw it and it looks like it's right in proportion. Then you stand it up the way it's supposed to be, and then you see that, oh, wait a minute, her waist is too long, or her neck's too long, or whatever, because you were looking at it from a foreshortened perspective, and it totally changes the look of the character. So you have to be really careful. That's why you never, ever want to draw on a flat surface, because if you draw on a flat surface like this, I mean, look, if you look at this, this is pretty much the direct angle flat on top of the drawing. So if the camera is my eye line looking down at my drawing, that's what I want to see. So I see the perspective perfectly. Now, if I lay this down on a flat piece of paper, see what happens? Okay, so now I'm on a flat table looking at this, and I'm not seeing this correctly. So that's how I'm drawing it, and it looks fine to me. And then I lift it up like this so it's straight on, and you realize, oh, if the neck is too long, or the waist is too long, or whatever, because from your perspective, you've compacted everything. So you have to be careful when you're drawing like that. And that is why I absolutely never draw on a flat surface, because you have to be sitting and hunched over that, almost directly over the drawing, so you get the actual perspective for the figure work in the drawing. You know, I have never gone Stroman size. I mean, I think I draw my women pretty hippie, but man, Larry Stroman, he puts some booty on his chicks. You know, the Silver Surfer is an interesting thing because he seems like he'd be easy to draw, but he's not, in the sense that you really want to get a certain amount of energy into that character. And sometimes it's really difficult to get a pose that I haven't seen a million times and shows the energy or the grace or the elegance of, you know, however you want to approach the character. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're reading some strange comments in the comment section that we're not going to comment on. Wait a minute, who is doing a Mobius style? Did you ever see Frega's Silver? Oh, I see. They're trying to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because that was a totally different take on the Silver Surfer, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Mobius is Mobius, and he does his own thing, and he does it, obviously did it, excuse me, very well. And trying to emulate that is, you find that anytime you try and cop somebody else's style, you're really a cheap imitation, and you can never quite capture the magic that they have. So, and that's a real temptation as an artist. You have guys like, for me, like I said, I had all that Wrightson stuff. You know, all the Wrightson stuff I showed you early in the video.
Yeah.
I had all of it, and every time I, ran into a problem, it's like, well, how should I do these rocks, or how should I do this tree? I would go and look at Wrightson stuff, and you start to look at and you realize, okay, my stuff's not as good as Wrightson. I'm trying to do Wrightson, but I'm not doing it as well as he did it. So at some point, you have to sort of abandon that whole idea and kind of do your own thing, because you're never going to be as good as the person you're trying to copy. As much as you may love their work and you think that's the ultimate look for art, is the way this guy does it. And so you naturally want to emulate it, but there's just no substitute for the real thing, Shelley. I think that's a Coke commercial, but
I'm not sure.
But so what the ideal thing is, what you do is you see an artist that you really like their work, and you take aspects of their work that you think is really cool, and you try to incorporate that into your work, rather than just stylistically just trying to lift everything they're doing exactly the way they're doing it. And you come up with a personalized style that maybe people say, oh, I can see a little bit of Kevin Nolan in your work, or I see a little bit of Adam Hughes in your work. Or
And if you're a student of your craft, you can't help but have some influences in your work.
Sure.
Jeffrey. Okay, you guys. He's gonna be talking about this all night. I know I talk too much.
I can't even.
Did too much.
I'm not even going to slap him because he's right. This was the worst live stream I've ever done.
No, it wasn't. It just you like to be very thorough, and so yeah, I liked seeing some of it because I can remember talking about it. The Wrightson thing you showed. We actually have the print up on the wall. The dinosaur. I mean, of the dragon. Just gotta reel it in a little bit, maybe. Can't cover everything.
It's true.
At one time.
It's true.
So we'll just pick certain things to focus on.
So I'm gonna have to give away next live show. I have to give away stuff to get people to come back.
No, we'll just title it
Different. The exciting show.
Aaron live. More drawing, less talking. I don't know. Don't obsess on it.
It's too late.
That's how you learn what works. I'm sure there's some that could have, listened even longer. I'm just not one of them.
Oh. Well, what I was hoping for was that people would interact and have a bunch of questions. Instead, they went to sleep or left.
Well, there was questions. It was just trying to find a time when there was a breath taken.
I was trying to get through it. I was trying to, cover everything and get through it in a reasonable amount of time. But
Oh gosh. So David wants to know when you're going to have some other artists besides him come in and kick your butt. I mean, draw with you.
Let me think. Oh, you know what? This is who I'll bring in.
Oh man.
Oh,
professional art jam. Maybe next time when you host. Although you're now have the pressure of game show every time that you host.
Yeah, people want me to do the game show. And because it is fun.
They are really, really good.
And I do have at least one more game show episode in me. So, no, the thing is, it's like, I don't want to bring in the guys. I mean, we do the professionals every Thursday night. So what's the point of bringing them on my show the rest of the week? Because we're going to be together on Thursday nights anyway. So I'll tease something here, though. How about this? I have talked to Mark Nelson, and he has agreed to come on and talk about his art. And so those of you, Mark Nelson, of course, drew the very first Aliens miniseries for Dark Horse. He's an amazing creature designer and illustrator. Just does some really fantastic work. He did that lizard guy up there in the corner. And he is going to come on and talk about his work probably right after I get back from Kansas City, which will be this next weekend. I'll be in Kansas City, and then I'll be back, of course, on Monday or Sunday, actually, after the show. And then so then the next show following that, I will try and have Mark on to discuss his rather incredible artwork. And just a really nice guy, too, which always helps. See, David's a really good artist, but not a really nice guy. So it's, I have to kind of trade off, But if I can get a guy that's really good and is super nice, then.
So next time, I need to say, Aaron, you're monologuing again. What is that from?
The Incredibles, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious, Jeff. Thank you.
But you have so much knowledge in your head. I know it. You just want to get it out of there.
Here's a barcode. Guess the movie.
Yep, from The Incredibles. Yep.
No, actually, that was Den Bouvet who did the painted one. It was the very first one was in black and white. It was like, I think Dark Horse launched their entire publishing line with the first issue of Aliens and then Dark Horse Presents. I'm pretty sure. And maybe in Black Cross. Might have been the 3 books that they launched with. Oh yeah, he did do stuff for Now Comics, man. That was a while ago. They were the first ones to have the Terminator license, and that kind of put them on the map. Although they didn't stick around too long. And I want to say Alex Ross started out working for Now. I could be wrong about that, but. Yeah, so we'll have him on, and I'll try and get, go the guest star route a little bit more often. But again, everybody's doing shows now, Shelley, and so everybody's like doing the same thing. They're bringing the same people on, So it's like,
yeah.
Maybe we should try like ventriloquism or something. Puppet shows. No. We can't do music shows because Facebook will shut me down every time I try.
Or show an album cover.
Yeah. And that was a pretty good show, though, actually, the album cover one. But then I got to worry about getting shut down, which just is really annoying.
Okay, what Comic-Con are you going to this weekend?
It's not Planet Comic-Con. That's the big one in Kansas City. It's
Comic-Con the 23rd to 25th. Right?
Yeah. It's not Planet Comic-Con, though. That's San Diego Comic-Con.
Would you?
I'm in trouble again.
I was trying to find the one you're going to.
It's in here someplace. It's called called The Squeaky. I had my room booked. I had a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
Fountain City Minicon.
Okay.
Fountain City Minicon. And then I will also be on a Friday before the show. It's just a one-day show, right? And I was like, dude, I don't want to come out to Kansas City for one day. And he was like, well, we'll set you up for a store signing. And so I'm doing that on Friday at Phoenix Comics, which is Fenix.
Okay. Oh, they have toys.
Ooh.
Ooh.
No, I have no room in my shelf for toys. But I do. And then I will be at Free Comic Book Day, which is mid-August. I will be in Tennessee, of all places, Shelley, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
At Golden Age Comics, I think it's called. Although I don't know if he actually has any Golden Age comics.
Any Texas cons planned?
Not yet. No one's
Oh.
invited me. So I may be going to New Mexico, although for one, in October, I've been invited. And I'm just wanting to make sure that I don't have any sort of dad's weekend conflict or anything before I say yes.
Yeah. I don't know how much to wax your legs live on cam.
How much what?
How much to wax your legs on cam?
Hey, old man, how much to wax your legs live on cam? Oh, about this much.
Oh my gosh.
I think that would hurt a lot. You guys probably laugh your heads off though while it happened.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. But it's very effective.
That's what I hear.
Done it. Yeah, we'll have to sit down and plan out a few.
Well, I want you guys to know I'm actually working on a sequel to the documentary that I shot earlier.
Nice.
Because some people had suggested that there wasn't much information in it.
Mm. Well,
which I'm a little, I don't really understand that, but I think I put in, again, you know, you guys are all about brevity anyway, so it was like I think I got it to the point and got out of there.
it was
and
clear, concise.
you got the highlights really.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, so I'm going to expand a little bit on that, I think. Although some people in the family don't want to participate, which is kind of troubling to me. But we'll work around her.
Tater says I should go with you to Tennessee and then drive down to Alabama and shoot and fish with his wife. Although, when are you going to Tennessee?
Mid-August. I'm guessing that's going to be pretty
Oof.
humid.
It would be brutal. Might have to pass on that.
Send your best wishes and then.
Yeah. Digging the hair.
Throwing in little highlights there for you to keep it interesting. Unlike the earlier part of the show.
Will you let it go? Let it go. Let
See,
it go.
If I had a frozen clip, I could go right to that right then.
So you never did answer my question earlier. What are you going to get me for my birthday?
You need to sort of give me some idea of what you might be interested in getting. You still haven't answered. Did we decide on the cake yet?
I thought we were going to do cheesecake.
Okay.
I
Well, then
ordered some
that's
gluten-free graham crackers.
Did you really?
I did.
Okay. Because I could just go to Cheesecake Factory and pick up pieces of cake too, but
I do have a gift card.
But they probably don't have a gluten-free option.
Oh.
What?
Tater says we could just shave your arms and watch it grow back as you draw.
Who said that?
Yeah. Hyper potato.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks a lot for that.
All right, statistical 0. Have a good one. Oh my gosh.
Thanks for hanging in there, man. Appreciate it.
And there he is. Hi, Poo-Poo.
Oh, we're going 3 hours. That's like way too long. Just think if I hadn't done the portfolio review, this show would have been about 15 minutes long. Then what we would have done.
Would you let it go? Let it go. Oops.
I'm going to use David Williams' Presto pen. Maybe I am. Work. Work. There we go. There we go. It's kind of a black and white version. I mean, obviously it's a black and white version, but so I think,
Yes.
you know, some people, if they do a bad live stream or something, they just like don't post it. You know, they do the live stream and go, yeah, I'm not going to add this to the canon of things.
You guys. You have so much to share. Oh, they're just sharing the same issues. That one. Oh,
Even that seems fatiguing now at this point.
Hmm.
Didn't watch it. Have not seen it. Didn't really interest me, so I didn't. Okay, I've learned my lesson. I have.
just gonna target it more specific, perhaps.
Well, you know, you could tell I was having an off day. Look at it. I threw 2 sketches away. Finally settled on.
I know. You got to have those days, though. It's one of my things, right? If you don't have bad days, how do you know when you have a really good day? Pretty pathetic, isn't it? Just
Well, it's just, I mean, that's deep.
prophetic or
That's
pathetic. I don't know.
deep, deep thinking right there.
Deep. Wants to know what happened with the portfolio review.
Oh, no, I was actually going over like 70's portfolios by Wrightson and Barry Smith and Frazetta and stuff, and I've been informed that I went a little long.
For my taste,
Got
it was a little long.
Got a little boring for some people that don't really into
somehow
that.
the fan ended up just on you, so I'm sitting here sweating.
How the fan end up on
I
you?
don't know. I don't know how you pulled that one off, but you did.
Are you saying you're not getting any of that cool air?
I was not that whole time. Oh, David warns, don't watch the second Wonder Woman movie unless you want your eyes and ears to bleed.
My eyes.
Public service announcement.
Yeah, my eyes and ears are already bleeding from this episode. I don't want to make it even worse. You know, DC did a Wonder Woman black and white book with several different stories. You'd think they would ask
Recently?
Yeah, recently. Just came out.
Are you kidding?
I think they would ask, you know.
Jeez.
But no. Nope.
Well,
I wonder if anybody there even knows I drew Wonder Woman.
oh, that's a good question. Probably just had all their friends do it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I saw it come out and I'm like, wow, they didn't ask me to do that? Or do a story in there? Sad. What do we come to?
This one?
No, that's a black and
No,
white variant.
variant
I think it's just came out, so it wouldn't be on. That might be it. Yes, black and gold. That's it right there. I was always jealous because I always wanted to do work in the Batman black and white books they did, and I never got chosen to do that, even when I was in favor at DC. And of course, those of you who have perhaps followed some of my career will know that I did a Legends of the Dark Knight story today, but that was in color. And I wrote penciled and inked. I thought it turned out pretty well, but I never got to do Batman black and white. And then they do Wonder Woman, basically, which is black and gold. It's not black and white, but Wonder Woman black and gold, which I assume it was in black and white, except there was, you know, like her lasso and some of her armor were yellow or something. I don't know. And
women.
Of course. Even when they did the movie, there is creators that contributed very little to Wonder Woman, female creators, and they were mentioned in the credits, you know, as special thanks to so-and-so, and not me, though. 2 years on the book, nothing. I don't think I'm ever going to get film credit on anything unless we sell one of my properties.
Yeah.
My son is going to have that hanging over my head for the rest of my life, that he has film credit and I don't. Son worked for Legacy Special Effects for 6 months during an internship and worked on The Shape of Water, which of course was an Academy Award-winning film. And then he did work on something about a robot dog, and he also got screen credit for that. I can't remember what the name of that movie was, but didn't really do well at the old box office, so it kind of came and went pretty quickly. All right, so there's a black and white Wonder Woman to celebrate the Wonder Woman black and gold book that I didn't get to be a part of. Oh my goodness, Stuart Sager is in the house. Hey, Stuart. I haven't seen you in like a million years. He does really good work, though, Stuart does. Thanks for dropping in, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's what Michael says. You're too good for him. I am.
I'll show them, darn it.
They didn't want you because you black AA Ron.
Oh, David.
Do Aaron's eyes and ears bleed during his werewolf transformation? The movies always make it look very painful.
You know, he pulls it off just no problem.
Boo! Too many werewolf jokes tonight.
You started them though.
Well, yeah, but you got to know when to back off and go a different direction. What's the shape of water? Square? Feel free to spoil it. It's shaped like the creature from the Black Lagoon and and his girlfriend, who just happens to be human.
Is that? Look on the screen. It looks like there's red and blue.
I wonder if it's picking up from this.
Yeah.
Trippy, man.
I was like, did he color that?
Well, it's still there.
Whoa, it's freaking me out,
yeah.
man. Dang, dude, 3 hours. Yeah, he's working on some serious stamina.
Okay. But let's clarify this right now. I spent an hour and a half boring everyone to tears, so I had to go an hour and a half to sort of make up for it with a little bit of drawing, right?
Well,
so it's So
we'll just let that go.
Yeah. So anyway, I probably won't though.
I know you're gonna bug me all night.
Fishman blinks abroad. No, don't feel sorry for me, Angela. I brought it on myself.
Oh.
But I appreciate your pity.
Oh, I'm gonna hear about it all night long. Honey,
All right.
Seriously though, you have so much knowledge that you want to share. We get it. It's okay.
Just don't ever do it again.
Just let's rein it in, man. Just focus, target your knowledge. You can't share it all at once.
Oh.
Yeah, like and subscribe before Aaron gets his own channel suspended. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell thing. Go check out Indiegogo. Go to Indiegogo.
Yeah. Okay, there we are. We're gonna wrap this sucker up. There she is.
Yay!
The black and white glory.
You drew something.
I drew something. Yeah, I did something. I did something positive and constructive.
It would. Oh Lord.
Let's see.
Yeah, but see, if you got Louis Simonson on here, they would have been going into tomorrow. They still like you. They still like you. Yay. You know what?
Oh,
yeah,
it
wasn't my thing.
Shelley just
I am
kind of cool for all that portfolio talk.
No, that's why I said for me, it just wasn't my thing. And you wanted me to sit here and make sure that I could zoom in and stuff. And I was like, kill me now.
Yeah. Well,
if you guys liked it, awesome. Awesome.
You know what we should do? Did you ever go to those like those motorhome shows and stuff when you were a kid? Did your dad ever take like the Coliseum?
Those home improvement one? No.
Yeah. You never went to the motorhome ones though? And they would have they'd set up a pond, like it was like one of those above ground swimming pools, right? But a really huge one, and they'd put trout in them.
Yeah.
And they give you a little line with a hook and cheese, and you try and catch a trout while you were there at the never did that? So I'm sitting there thinking maybe if we set up a little pond here with some trout in it, and we had like a little fishing
I could go fishing
while we could sit there and
keep me entertained.
Yeah, that's right. You're just like almost got a bite. What'd you say? What? Well, and see, and then
that's why I deleted like 1,000 emails.
Look as Wrightson moves with his pen, right? She's like, "Oh, I got one on. The camera would cut over to you, like when you're ice
you
fishing
guys
or something."
Illustrator and art history major there. See, yeah. So I enjoyed the first half. I did. I really did. Because I understood.
Oh, wait a minute.
Most of it.
Take him for ice cream.
Oh, I'm bad.
You know, when we lived in Tampa, where was that place we drove to get ice cream? It had that really good ice cream. We'd have to go through Tarpon Springs, down through the past the sponge docks, and we would go right. Remember that they had that antique car for sale place that had like the big glass showroom, and it was like Mungo's or Munchies or. You don't remember?
Munchies is here.
Yeah, that's Menchie's.
Oh. Well, I'm here since marijuana's legal. I don't know. That's a long commute to take you to ice cream there, though.
We did. We took the kids there to ice cream, and it
was so long ago. How you remember stuff? I have a horrible memory, so although I won't forget tonight for a while.
And Shelley goes out with a bang. Oh, boy.
No. You are full of knowledge. You got lots to share. And if you guys loved it, I am thrilled and impressed. Super impressed.
No, see, here he understands. My wife says I talk about comics too much, even if it's just a sentence.
Well, there's times where I have to say, my brain is full. So that's just.
Well, she can see. Josh, our son, came by just just enough time to eat his lunch that he picked up at Qdoba, or not Qdoba, but the other place, Chipotle. Mm-hmm. And so he's sitting there at the kitchen table, and Shelley comes down to spend a little time with her son, right? So we're all three in the kitchen. And then it was like she was intently listening to the conversation, interjecting stuff. And then I brought up something about comic books, and she was like, started scrambling eggs or doing something,
Yeah, I would make myself some eggs.
She was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this conversation."
Well, yeah. But you are full of knowledge.
Careful, Jeff. Careful.
Knowledge. Yeah.
See, Defenders of Comics, I'm going to be interviewed by him, and I'll bet he asked me a bunch of questions about comics.
And he's going to go, I hear your wife's not very nice.
Yeah, she's going to say, don't bring your wife on my podcast, because she...
Well, see, yes, he loved it. He mostly listened.
Leg kick. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Excellent.
All this stream is missing now is a math lesson. Oh. We would have plummeted. One viewer. Yeah.
I can't argue with that. Darn it. I wanted to slap him, but I can't.
No. I don't even want a math lesson from me.
I loved it, but mostly listened. I loved it, but I mostly listened. Okay.
Oh, an accountant, another math-minded person. Yeah. Although I won't be doing math next year, probably.
They're begging you to come back. They're begging you to come back. So.
When will you launch? Mid-August?
Mid-August is correct. Right when I get back from my Free Comic Book Day appearance in Tennessee, we will launch that week, provided we're up and running and have all of our tiers set up and figured out. But I believe that's the plan. That is the plan.
See, they were multitasking too. I was no tasking. So
Shelley's great. See, you get a little bit of that.
Not really, but no, I feel bad. Oh, we're both gonna be like, it's gonna be who can feel worse.
So
I feel bad. No, I feel worse.
So I promised these guys I was going to do a cooking show.
Oh.
Now, would that be troublesome, do you think?
I'd have to clean the kitchen. That's the trouble.
Well, but during the show, would something like that be a little too... I mean, there's more action-oriented, isn't it? I mean, you're cracking eggs and stuff.
But they're not here to see you cook. They're to see you draw.
This is a variety show, Shelley.
I got a variety of ideas. Let's look at another portfolio.
I have more over there that I didn't share.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. All right.
I enjoyed my youth. What can I say?
That's a good idea, Tater. There'll be a marathon AaronCon stream when you launch.
Yeah, probably. It's going to be epic. I got to go. I'm going to probably go on Ethan's, but I don't channel one more time to help push it because that was actually quite helpful yesterday.
Oh.
But
they like to go ahead with the cooking thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I may launch on my own channel and just do a marathon thing that will kill most of us. And then I'll have to find things to talk about.
Bring out the portfolios then.
Yeah, and then
great show tonight. Awesome.
We'll set up the air mattress for Shelley so that when she gets bored, she can go to sleep. So
is this the question for me? What was the one character that Aaron has worked on that you actually didn't like? Or is that for you?
I don't know.
He's up here. It says, "Can I ask your wife a question?" Well, I was going to say yes.
Well, there it is. There's the question.
Maybe. That I didn't like.
Is there a character that I worked on that you did not like?
I don't think so.
Now, were you happy or indifferent? I don't think you were mad about it, obviously, because if you were mad about it, I wouldn't have done it. But when I made you a major character, sporting character in Sludge.
No, I thought it was Awesome.
So there you go. Shelley Rogers, Ace Reporter.
Ace Reporter. And the look that he just was perfect when he drew it was my annoyed look. So
I see it a lot.
he sees it. 24-hour drawing marathon. Booyah.
Till my arm falls off. We
Yeah.
have to do something. Look
I
at that.
liked-
See,
I liked all the stuff that you've done because
great show tonight.
oh, give him some money later. But no, I liked everything.
I'm rich. I'm wealthy. Yahoo! I'm comfortably well off.
I don't know why that.
It
Shelley
just-
said, "Give him some money," so I gave.
Yeah.
That's the money I got.
I should be signing issues of Sludge. Oh, that's
Can
the
you bring on
character
Dale
name.
Keown? I would love to talk to Dale. I don't really know Dale, but I I met him once in Australia.
Next show, Aaron draws while Shelley talks. No, I don't like hearing my voice.
24-hour snacking marathon.
That's every day.
That would be.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Shelley actually signed issues of Spider-Man because you
I did ink.
Yep,
I filled in some blacks.
filled in some blacks.
At
on
the
the
Denny's,
Spider-Man
is that
show.
the ones we did at
Yeah,
the Denny's?
yeah, in San Diego. That's right.
Back in the day. That's funny. Anyway, I think
No, about Dale Keown. I met him at. Did I piss him off? You said pass off.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I think if Dale remembers me, I think he likes me because I met him at OzCon in Australia.
we did.
Well, I don't know if you did. I don't know if you
Oh.
were even there. You might have been out hanging around.
Or shopping.
And so yeah, I was on a panel with him and everything. And his agent actually contacted me later and said that, oh yeah, Dale liked some of the stuff you said in the panel, and they hired me to do some pit cards and things like that. And but I've never spoken to him other than the brief meeting I had with him at OzCon. But yeah, I'm a huge Dale Keown fan, huge. But I don't have the kind of relationship with him that I could, just Facebook him and say, "Hey, man, you want to be on my show?" I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. Well, this will never happen. This show.
Can
will
you
never
imagine?
happen.
Okay,
Ever.
if you guys think I'm boring when I'm talking and Shelley can't draw, can you imagine at the same time?
You're not boring. You're just full of information. Oh, it's gonna be a long night.
Well, I'm
Oh.
nearly at 1,000 subs. Like, how
Yeah.
close? That's the thing.
987.
13 away. If you're watching this show right now and
And you
literally,
haven't subscribed,
if you haven't subscribed,
or your roommate or significant other
right,
hasn't.
watch this real quickly here. So yeah, and
Wow.
here's another thing: if you watch the show and you feel sorry for me, subscribe because the shows, they're actually, most of them are pretty good. Tonight was a little iffy.
It was full of information.
It was like reading you buy a book that you think has pictures in it, and then there's no pictures; it's just text, and you're like, yeah, okay, this is great, but.
If you guys loved, I hope you did, because it was great. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Enough of this foolishness. We're gonna do something for dinner. I guess Taco Bell, huh?
No, he tried to kill me last time we got me Taco Bell. I texted our son. I said, I think your father's trying to kill me for the insurance money.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes Taco Bell is okay, and sometimes it's not okay. But we
That
still
night was not okay.
We'd still appreciate their sponsorship.
Yes, that would. Yeah,
Absolutely would.
he would. I will never eat it again. Yeah, we'll have a party stream.
We definitely will.
Maybe a pity party.
Yeah, that's right. When we hit 1,000, there's going to be a big show. I'm going to break out all portfolios and every comic that I have in my collection and talk about each one individually.
Every panel, every page.
Oh, that's my head.
Shame. Oh,
Blinded the light.
oh gosh. Oh, they just felt sorry for me.
Oh, okay.
So that was because Aaron's like, you got to do the comments and the camera and the okay.
Yeah, when it got really silent over here, and I was like, "So Shelley, what do you blah blah blah?" She's like, I was like,
I whisper, "How many more are you gonna do?"
Yeah, she's like, "Stop it, please, for the love of God." No one cares.
You're killing me slowly.
No one cares. I don't care what you did when you were 12. Oh. I have pictures of when I was, I think,
Oh gosh, here we go.
13 or 14,
Yeah.
with my entire Swamp Thing collection spread out on the dining room table. I think my mom took a picture of me holding up Swamp Thing, and I had like long hair. It was like, oh, Swamp Thing. So that's what I used to do.
Sure, she has it.
That's what I used to do. I would sit around and go, look at my comics. But see, my mom always pretended she was interested.
I did really
You did
good
for a little while.
My acting skills just don't have that kind of longevity.
Shelley's gonna have to re-enroll at the Actors Studio and really
Man,
fake us all out.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Seriously, that's enough of this nonsense.
Yeah.
See, now the show's picking up.
After
After 3.5 hours, now we're rolling.
just took us a little while to get
Oh my goodness.
warmed
Okay.
up. Oh,
All right. So yes, thank you guys for sticking with me and hanging out for this period of time. And I know that maybe it wasn't as exciting as some of the other shows have been,
but it was informative.
It was informative, and we did get to look at some cool artwork.
That's true.
And we always do that. So please remember to go to this
Indiegogo.
Right. There's a link on my bio page on Instagram, on both my Facebook pages, on my profile page on Twitter.
Oh, sorry. 988.
Oh my gosh, we're 12 away from 1,000 subscribers. But anyway, so I need people to sign up for this book so I know how many people are interested, so I can gauge what I can do and what I can't do when we go live with this. So that's please go support that, which would be supporting me, which would be supporting Shelley.
More importantly.
That's right. So it all sort of, it's a trickle down. So we appreciate that. And thanks for joining us. And we'll make sure that next time there's so much excitement that there's not a second for you guys to catch your breath. Yeah, they're desperately, as we're stalling, can we get 12 more subscribers before the show's over?
Oh, man.
Okay. How do we log in to take the final? Oh my gosh. Wow.
It was very educational. We should have said that there'll be a quiz.
Paul doesn't
later.
bring it very often. But, he brought it. Anyway.
That's right. Early birthday present for me.
That's right. So actually, I won't be on the professionals this week on Thursday because I'll be in Kansas City.
Well, and then we won't have Sunday.
No, there'll be no Sunday show either. So
this one, that's why this was a double.
That's right. It's like two shows in one.
We're going to go with that.
There's the boring part, and then there's the drawing part. Man. And the comedy that Shelley provides, which really sort of makes the show.
Right.
That's why she's Shelley Showtime.
Oh, gosh. So
anyway. So
I'm sure you'll live stream when you get back and share your adventures.
Oh, I will. I will share adventure. Maybe I'll do some like selfie videos that we can post.
You should.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. I think I'll do it. So anyway, all right, guys. That's enough.
That's enough.
We're heading out of here. Thank you all for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done it. And please back the campaign Wraith of God over on Indiegogo if you haven't done it. And we will see you next time, which could be as early as tomorrow. You just never know.
You never know. Never know.
See ya.